You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
Oh, it's me. Oh. And welcome back to Maximum Driftcast. We are here. We are back with Formula Drift Pro 2 champion Corey Hosford. Oh, wait.
No, you're right. You can keep rolling with that. I'll play with that. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? I have so this guy kept pulling up. He tried selling us the elotes, and we just invited him in to be a part of the show.
Who's this guy who's sitting next to us?
Dean Kearney.
Oh my!
Oi. Oi.
How did you get that nickname?
I don't know. I do know. I used to have a manager called Ian Bergen back in the day, and I came in over the hill in Mondello, and I lost every single body part except the two doors. The two quarter panels fell off, the bumpers, fenders. I had the hood and two doors, and that was it. So I just got it from that. Yeah, all in one run.
Huh. I must say you guys look pretty cute all together in one same shot, by the way.
We're just we're bunk buddies.
Bunk buddies.
We're gonna be sharing this thing all day. So hopefully you guys can hang with us, and then obviously we see Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Corey.
You seem so happy right now, Sam. I know.
Pumped.
Don't even say it, Sam. Don't even say it. I hope everything is better.
Thanks, homie.
It was also good seeing you this weekend.
Wait, I saw you?
For a second. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the sick footage you got on Thursday.
What sick footage?
Exactly. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was texting Sam. It's like, you goddamn right. I can come out there and get some video. And Sam was like,
Well, I was only planning on it for competition because I wasn't planning on shooting just qualifying, but it's when
no, it's all good. I appreciate it either way.
Yeah. I didn't do anything, so don't appreciate me.
So obviously you guys have seen Dean Kearney, Carknee.
So,
He was actually passing through.
Don't ever say Kearney.
He was
Kearney.
passing through, and we stalk everybody's Instagram. I don't know if you know that or not.
I'm aware.
Yeah, so we stalk everybody's Instagram, and we saw that he was like hanging out in front of your old apartment, Sam.
Yeah, sweet.
Yep, and then we are like, dude, you're at the wrong house. Why don't you come over to the studio that's not in Paco's house? And guess what? He showed up in his Oracle trailer and everything.
So you got another car in your driveway, Paco?
Pretty much. I mean, it's not in the drivers on the street.
So the neighbors are pumped.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They love
The
it.
neighbors love him.
They already love me. Listen to my awkward silence.
No, I was just looking at Sam.
Hey, man, what's up?
Nada. So, as you guys know, this week has been Formula Drift Texas, which was exciting. Would you say? Yeah. Were you pumped? Were you pumped on it?
Yeah, it was definitely exciting. I thought it was actually one of the better events of the year, and probably the best event ever in Texas, I think. Yeah.
So
I heard that you showered some spectators with some fiberglass from your wingtip.
Did
Dean.
I? If I did,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, but you had a very close call with the now infamous tire wall, but you thankfully pulled it out. You just left some shrapnel back there. What was the tire wall versus Dean like?
I definitely got lucky, I would say, not to get sucked in there. I just got lost in the smoke with Dye and transitioned behind him for the second inside clip, perfectly timed. I couldn't see a thing. It was just lucky. And when I went to switch back, I realized I was about 3 car lengths deeper in the corner than I thought I was going to be. And I popped out of smoke right beside the tire wall, not where I wanted to be, and caught the back of the car. But luckily enough, saved it and didn't wreck it.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard the words "lost in the smoke" in the past 72 hours. Just literally every driver that Corey and I and Lorette talked to on Saturday, every single person I've talked to since then, like just the words "lost in the smoke." Maybe that's the episode title or something. But I mean, it's ridiculous how that track just kind of really doesn't allow usually perfect, great battles, because almost everybody gets lost in the smoke unless you're, of course, inches away from their door or completely offline.
I thought it was probably the best event that they'd done there in Texas, but yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a
It looks super
disaster.
fast, though. Was it faster than any other year?
No, I like. We always felt that we had the fastest car on the grid until about 2 years ago, and then we're throwing everything we have at the car at the moment, and it's only like barely in the top 5 or 6 now. So I just think everyone is after really stepping up with their grip wise and stuff, so
Got it.
maybe that's why it looks faster.
And compared to your teammates' cars, the S15 Wonder Twins, are you comparable speed, or what's your comparison to those two?
Like we have 2 spotters. Obviously, James and Peter take over their own spotter from back home in Ireland, and I've got my own spotter over here, and they compare like data and notes all the time. So we have pretty good information between the two of them. But we were doing course times, and we were within 0.2 of a second of each other, myself and James, and Peter was right in the middle of the two of us.
Oh, sweet. Now should we? Corey? What do you want to do? Do you want to talk
you keep
your shop, or should we talk to Dean for a minute?
Kinda like-
let's finish up Dean's shop and then we'll jump into mine and then we'll get rolling.
Sweet, Dean. You qualified not so hot. What happened there?
Disaster. The judges dinged me super hard on lifting the throttle before the second inside clip point, which I can understand because they said it in the drivers' meeting. But to be honest, I was watching back the qualifying on Friday night in my hotel room, and I thought the scoring on a lot of runs was very skeptical. Like, what's actually worse, if you lift the throttle there for half a second, or if you don't hit like any of the clips at all? And you can see guys getting like 10 points higher, like for doing exactly that, but just been mad at full throttle all the way,
Yeah, I feel like the judging, not only the qualifying points, but the actual judging was a little bit maybe off this weekend, and I'm sure our judge friends are gonna maybe chime in on this. But between like 15 people, this is not the exact number, so don't mathematically quote me on this, but between like 10 to 15 people having like within a 6-point spread, and then both James Dean and Kaufman getting 97 points. And then during competition, there were there's a handful of calls that was one judge for one guy, one judge one more time, and one judge for another guy. Like, I feel like the judging was a little bit all over the place this event.
I would generally say Formula Drift has probably the best judging out of any series in the world, honestly. How they compare, like, who runs like a lead run, how a lead run, a follow to a follow. I think it's the best way it is. But in their defense, like, it's a super hard job, and how do you always make everyone happy?
You can't, no way. But
this track is not very dynamic. I don't think there's a lot you can do to be different. Like, the only thing you can really do is be dangerous on the tire wall, and do you take the chance in catching the tires and writing your car off, or do you try to play it some little bit
I'm not
safe?
so much saying the judges had a abnormal event. I'm more saying that this track, like, agreeing with you there, is that it's probably just really hard to judge this track because it is really strange and all over the place.
Yeah, I've to be honest, it's one of the events. If they didn't go back to next year, I wouldn't be too worried.
It's in Orlando.
No, yeah, but no, like, I think it's an amazing track and facility and everything. If they could just maybe use like different turns or run it backwards or something, this track just doesn't excite me to drive it anyway.
Were you there the first year when it was ran the opposite way?
Yeah, I was. I thought it was a much better track.
Yeah. Seems like everyone did. And it seems like I was talking to Chris about it, and he said like the year that they changed it during like the first drivers meeting, like, well, we listened to you guys and we changed it because you guys said you weren't happy. Then a bunch of people were like, no, actually, we liked it better the other way. Like, we're not happy you changed it, but apparently it's just the way it is now. I don't know why.
I think how it is at the moment, they were saying they changed it because they didn't want the drag race out of the first corner. I don't really think that's a problem anymore. Everyone's got 1,000 horsepower, and how you put the power on the ground. That's the problem if you get lost in the drag races, your car setup. How it is at the moment, I think, is definitely way more of a drag race now when you pass inside clip 1 for heading up for inside clip 2. Because if you decide to run shallow, which I felt the judges were allowing almost, you not having to fill that second touch and go zone, like that, like outer zone 2, is that what it was called? There, I didn't feel like they were penalising the lead car heavily enough if they didn't fill that. They were leaving guys run like 5 or 6 feet shallow of it and just power all the way up, and then the chase cars stuck in the smoke and lost,
In the hot pits, there's a couple of drivers who I don't want to name, but I was walking by them, but I think it was like top 16 area, and there's 2 guys talking to each other, like, okay, so it looks like just drive wherever you want, and as long as you're fast enough, it doesn't matter. And they're like, yep, it seems like how they're judging. So and they were referencing that area because it seemed like it didn't matter how close you were to those clips, as long as you were the lead driver and pulling away, you got you got patted on the back.
Yeah, and it seems to be like going back to what Formula Drift actually was a couple of years ago. Like, and they took away all the speed traps and everything because they didn't want this happening anymore. And then I felt this event was gone back to exactly the way it was 4 years ago. If you're fast and you're in the lead, just go for it, and you basically get the advantage, you know.
Right.
Well, the other
That's,
thing too, Sam, is even running a shallower line up the middle made it even harder for the chase cars to chase.
Absolutely.
That was the worst part, is that they would run a super shallow line. It's like, okay, well, where do you put the car at this point? And it's also going to choke them up on that second ender clip going towards the tire wall, which you saw a lot of mistakes happen there.
Yeah, and as a chase car, if they are going shallow and you expect them to go wide and you're on the wide line, then you're in the smoke, of course. Exactly. And you have no way to regain that speed again until after the tire wall, which we saw tons of people do. They'd cut that the chase driver would then cut the tire wall tight so you could just get up on their ass again. And I felt like that was just the constant battle move we saw, as we saw a huge separation at the power alley, and then we saw a huge diving in after the tire wall, and that was almost nearly every battle.
That's exactly how it was. Pretty much. Yeah, that's what I felt like anyway.
So needless to say, hopefully there's something changed next year.
Yeah, Sam, how many laps did you do around the course? Sounds like you did quite a bit.
I did watch just about everyone, and I filmed just about everyone. But it's exciting because, Corey, we actually have your insider perspective as a host of the show and someone who ran the course.
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird that we've obviously been talking about this all year long, and then I finally actually made it happen. But
Hold on, before we get into your experience out there, let's just talk about Kearney's battle with Dye. How did that battle go for you? Obviously, it didn't end in a victory for you, but let's talk about that battle.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I was looking at my phone.
Oh, here we go. You break into his house, you demand a microphone, and now you're not paying attention.
Yeah,
That's
the battle with Dye. Yeah, he just beat me pretty much. He just got lost in the smoke. But
got lost in the smoke. There it is.
We had misfortunate car trouble, to be honest, for the majority of practice on Thursday and Friday and Saturday morning. And we went into the battle only after doing 2 chase laps before that. And I feel myself, I pulled up on the line and I didn't have the muscle memory that I knew I would need, like in the smoke. And I probably have myself beaten even before I got on the line. And I feel I've done a pretty good job in the chase up until the point where I got lost. But then after that, then it's just, it's hanging on, you know. And then you just go out and try smoke him out on the lead lap. But Dye is obviously very experienced and not gonna get caught out too easily with stuff like that, you know.
And I think Dye was driving better than normal, able to beat Peter, who was a killer that day and qualified 6th. So good for Dye.
Peter bet himself though. He hit Dye on the entry and kind of upset his whole chase run, I think.
Right. All right, Corey, you drove this track. What's up, man? What do you think about drifting now that you've drifted again?
Oh, God. I don't know what I think. It was honestly...
Do you hate it already?
No, I love it. I just think, dude... So, obviously, I've had the past couple of days to really kind of rethink about everything that's happened over the past...
A lot of drinking, a lot of thinking, a lot of thinking, and a lot of drinking.
Thinking and drinking. That sounds like a good country song. No, it was cool. From the whole experience, from obviously showing up with the functioning car, getting ready to go through tech, getting ready to go to the track. It was definitely like a whole different experience than what I was used to a couple years ago.
Yeah, because when you were driving back then, there was still a bunch of drivers that there was the top guys, and there was 60. What is it, 40? How many drivers were there when you were?
I think what was the largest car count at Long Beach?
Like 60 or 70 cars, right?
64 cars in Long Beach. You get
Jesus.
2 laps of practice and then qualify.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the pace. Once again, you do a lap, you have an hour to fix your car before you can go out and do another run. You know what I mean? This was definitely very eye-opening compared to what it used to be back in the day. So to kind of break down what happened, or give it kind of like a whole breakdown of the whole event for myself, even though it didn't last very long, a lot happened. So we showed up Wednesday, got the car there, unloaded. Our tech day was scheduled for Friday morning at 8 a.m. and then qualifying was at 9:30. We had the driver's meeting before that. So we got the Z there, went through the tech inspection, and we actually failed tech the first time we went through.
It's not like the 350Z ever failed tech before.
Well, never failed tech before. And once again, we had a week to go through it and get it up to par. Even when we tested it the same exact way that we thought it was going to pass tech. So we go there and Kevin Wells was like, this thing is not going to make it. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with it? It was me and Keith from America Motorsports.
Yep.
And our subframe was now the rule is you have to have the subframe 300 thousandths of an inch off.
I don't have subframes on my car.
Oh, you don't have subframes because you have the cheater car. But anyways, your subframe is supposed to be have a spacer in between the body and the subframe, which is like 300 thousandths of an inch. So you have to find shims. And so I spent the first hour of practice running around looking for shims so we can separate the subframe. And then we had to go through and like we had to remove the wing because there's no wing tethers. We had to go through. What else did we have to change? We had to change just a few other little miscellaneous things. But the biggest thing was finding the subframe spacers. Well, we practiced at, I think, 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and the pro guys didn't practice till like 3 or 4.
4:30, which we didn't get out till 5, I think, by the time we got out.
So, and none of the pro guys were there, and I'm like, well, I don't know who I'm going to ask for spacers because I'm not going to be able to drive. Well, anyways.
Jeremy has pro friends. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'm waiting for my own. I only have pro friends that I haven't really talked too much of the.
Well, should I just go with Alicanadel? You know, he stole a.
Well, that's what I did.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So Kyle tuned it. His crew chief was there, and they were coincidentally working on the subframe. And I'm like, dudes, I need some spacers for the subframe. They're like, oh, well, we have an extra set right here, which was perfect because they already had them out. So, anyways, took them back to the car, put them on. Kevin says, hey, when you get the spacers on, pull up to the hot pits, and I'll measure everything there and give you a tech sticker. Jeez. Well, we pull up to the hot pits. He measured it. And that was too much spacing. We felt again.
Oh, my God.
So we had to drop the subframe, remove the other spacers until it was 300 thousandths of an inch. And I think we have, 0.60, or we have a very small window of, like, buffering to go up or down.
How about overweight, though?
We were a little overweight. So,
just a wee bit.
And it wasn't in me either. It was the car.
Right.
So we ended up passing tech with about an hour and a half left of practice. And I think I may have got 10 to 12 runs in during practice, which was cool. But the thing was when we lowered the subframe, the torsion bar setup that we have didn't work because it threw everything else out of alignment. So we had to remove the rear sway bars off the rear of the car.
How did 3 milli whatever what size? Of,
like 300 thousandths
space
of it's like a quarter of an inch. It's somewhere is what the rule was, like a quarter of an inch.
That was enough to throw off.
Yeah, because the way it bolts in, there's a bolt hole, and then you take the bolt and stick it through the hole, and it's spaced specifically. So if you change that bolting position by a quarter of an inch, it's not going to go straight in. So we had to remove all that stuff. So when I drove the car, it just felt super mushy. Yeah. It felt mushy everywhere, and I was like, well, I just kind of got to deal with it. So we stiffened up the dampening and tried finding ways to stiffen up the car as much as we can.
Mushy, is that what you call it when you're talking with your crew chief on the radio?
Yeah, why does it feel so? What would you say?
Feels soft.
Mushy, soft, same
But there's
thing.
a difference between soft and mushy. Soft is kind of like more like Cadillac-esque. Mushy is like
yeah.
like
oh
wet.
My God.
Dude, oh God, don't ever make that
Yeah,
sound.
but that's a mushy. That was a very mushy sound. But so anyways, I went out there and did a few laps, and I just had to get used to the car again. And on a side note to that, the first couple laps, I was like, I hope I don't blow this thing up. I hope I don't break it. I hope. And so I was driving like an ass the first couple rounds just to feel the car out and shake it down. And then I finally started turning it on and getting a little bit more comfortable with it. And by that time, I probably had just a little bit left to practice. And then I get out of the car and I'm like hanging out. And I'm like, hey, does anybody have the qualifying order? And I'm like, oh, you're the first
You're
one.
the first one.
Change tires real quick, run back up and go. But the thing is how incredibly fast the whole Pro 2 process is. Like, if you make a big mistake in the beginning half of practice, you're out for a majority of it, and you don't have any other time to practice. Like with old...
How many cars are in Pro 2?
I think they had 26 cars there this time.
About the same as us then, yeah?
About the same. But the other thing was with previously in Pro 1, it's like you had all Thursday practice, then you had Friday morning practice, or you had Thursday night practice, top 32 qualifying practice, right? So you had like 3 different...
We used to practice Thursday all day, then you qualify Friday, then after qualifying night, this is 5 or 6 years ago though, you go back out and do a Friday night practice.
That was crazy practice.
Which I think was
insane practice, where everyone hit
best
each
bit
other
of
and
FD.
everyone...
Yeah, it was the
everyone
best
nuts
bit of
because they were
FD.
so
It was the
pumped on
best
qualifying.
driving because everyone was like hauling ass and you had a whole night to fix it, so everyone used to leave it hang out, you know?
Yeah.
But definitely I'd say it was because too many cars are getting broke up and not getting
everybody's
back on grid for the main show, you know?
Yeah, everybody was kind of crashing in the party practice. But do you know what? It was such a crazy experience. And to see it and now to be a part of it, it was so fast-paced. I wish there was more time for practice. I wish there was more time for setup because between me not passing tech, it really bit into that time to really get the car set up without the sway bars and stuff.
But Corey, why didn't that stuff happen before getting to the track?
That's what I was.
Thank you, Sam.
Well, that was what I was getting at. Is
Fail
you
to
know we
prepare,
went
to
through it with pretty good detail. Obviously, there was some things that we may have missed, and we did have spacers on the front part of the subframe. We just didn't have spacers in the rear half, which was confusing to us as far as how we had that space.
Cheater.
And I was gonna say the wing
cheaters.
tether rule I think is actually because of Dean. I think because one year his wing flew off and nailed another car, if I recall.
Yes, I made that rule. Yes, I made that.
Yeah,
rule.
I was gonna say.
That was
so
in
you could
Seattle,
pick him
wasn't
for
it,
that
or
one.
where was that?
Yeah, Kevin Wells told me at the start of this year when I knocked off my wing in Long Beach. He was like, "That's it, no more wings next year. They're gone. They're banned." Like, thanks very much.
Yeah, so like that's what I was kind of thinking about. Is yes, it should have been sorted out at the beginning of the year. If I would have was able to run Florida and Atlanta, I would have had it all solved, and I would have spent the rest of the year kind of developing the car, which I obviously didn't have time to do that. I just kind of pulled it out and ran with it, and that's what we got. I had tons of fun. I think it was a great experience, but what it did is refresh my mind on what I should be doing for next year. That's exactly what it was. It was a big learning curve. It was like a slap in the face, like, hey, man, you have to do it this way or else you're not going to be competitive at all. And,
how did it feel, the competition in comparison, just like the general feeling of the professionalism of the Pro 2 guys you're up against compared to when you were in Pro 1, your last stint in Formula Drift?
I think Pro 2 cars now are what Pro 1 cars were about 4 or 5 years ago. That's what it kind of feels like. Everybody's making great power. They have tons of grip. I think like the car that I drove, the Z, I feel it's outdated, and Pro 2 now is very specific too. It's like if I could,
as I say, it's not made for the tire rule right now because you said that you're like 300 pounds overweight that you need to be because you're all on the same maximum tires regardless. You could have literally taken a few hundred pounds out of the car.
I weighed in
the same tires, right?
I weighed in at with me in the car was 3280
or 1,000 pounds.
3280. What does the Viper weigh?
The Viper's pretty heavy actually. It's with me and it's 3230.
That's exactly
but you
what
get
I
to
weigh.
use
What tire size do you run?
285s, right?
I can run 305, I think.
305.
No, I can run, but I run depending on which track, either a 285 123S or a 275 ATR Sport.
I was running a 245/40. Because that's the
bicycle tire.
The 250. You could run the 255/35 or 245/40. Just that's what they had at the time was a 245/40. So like I rewatched my video of
How much horsepower?
It was like 560, 550, and I was rewatching the video of my qualifying, and it's like once again I'm going back looking at Pro 1 guys and I'm looking at this car, and it's like when you drive in full throttle on the gas, e-brake, and then on the gas immediately. Yeah. You guys have so much. The first 3/4 of the bank, I was like skating, just.
But it's so easy to drive when it's like this.
It is, but that's why my style and everything else was so on because I was freaking pedaling the car like.
Left foot brake.
They deduct that too much. I asked them in the driver's meeting. I said
they can't see left foot brake with the sunshine. Let's be honest.
Oh God, I wish I would have done that.
No, that's the truth.
Going for the deep game.
No, but they can't there. You can see nothing.
It's because I asked them in the driver's meeting. I was like, hey, so how do you guys like a left foot brake through that out of zone? Because I knew that I was way too loose. I wanted to drag brake all the way through so I could actually get throttle commitment. Yeah, and they said, well, it's exactly what it is. It's a big deduction. Anytime we see those lights of deduction, I'm like, okay. So I just skated it in there and floated like 3/4 of the way through the inner bank. And Brian, you can even go to my Instagram real quick. And I just posted the video. I want Dean to watch it.
Let's see. While Brian cues that, I only saw the video that it was like a cell phone video. Is that the same one?
Yeah, same one.
Okay, let's see if we can get that cued.
But the car was so loose, and everybody is running so much more grip in the car. And I know, dude, it was a rude awakening. It's like you can't compete unless the car's set up. But you know what it takes to have a car set up right and drive right? It takes a lot of money and a lot of time. Definitely. Like where you guys are at now, it's unbelievable as far as how much grip you guys are actually putting down.
Yeah, it's definitely insane to think like we make 1180 horsepower and coming out of outer zone 2 going up for the touch and go.
Yeah.
Here's a video.
Hold that real quick, Brian. Let Dean finish real quick.
No, I'd rather watch the video.
You gotta narrate.
All right, so go ahead and watch it. So I'll let Dean watch it first, and I'll narrate it. Just watch my first outer bank.
No, Corey, you gotta narrate the video. Tell the audio only listeners what you're doing. Right.
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna do it afterwards, but okay. So, anyways, we're getting the video to play real quick.
We can't just have 20 seconds or 45
there
seconds.
You go.
However long
there you go.
To get through the track of dead time. So you got to talk about it. Then.
So e-brake, no smoke,
like an
floating
ant.
it, and then I was able to get on the gas.
Solid entertainment voice.
On the gas, full throttle up,
Damn, Corey.
inner clip, good. But right there, it's just so loose, I had to get on a lot of brake to slow the car down because I knew it was going to float onto the wall.
Like, my question is, like, why are you driving Tanner Faust's car?
Because he was nice enough to let me borrow a car from 2003.
Oh, what a nice guy.
Yeah, so.
Was that an SR20
Now,
under the hood?
is there a way we could, do you have any of your runs up from Texas? Do you have anything that you posted on Instagram? Let's see if I can Google something. I'll send it over to you, Brian, if I can find something. But you guys, it was literally handbrake, back to gas.
Yep. Straight away back to gas. But like we make 1180 horsepower, and from the second outer zone to the touch and go. Actually, my motor was bogging. It was like labor in there. It's making so much grip. It's just digging and going, you know. But at the same time, then when you pass the second inner clip, then you have to be able to get all the speed off the car. And my car being heavy, it's not a nice feeling trying to get it off it, especially when there's a tire wall there. Like if it's a concrete wall, like you don't mind because you can rest the car against the back of it. But you're trying to like pick your point where you can bring the car up short of the wall, but still actually be like in the zone and not actually use the wall to feel it as a gauge almost, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so Corey and I got into it with our after hours with Lorette, with a couple drivers talking about the tire wall. Vaughn, actually, especially considering he's the one that hit the wall years ago and kind of started the tire wall thinking process. But it seems like almost every single driver said they would prefer not to have it, including Vaughn, who actually hit the wall and mandated the tires. So what do you think about having the tires versus not having the tires?
I definitely think we should not have the tires. Even if you noticed, I watched Nate Hamilton go in the wall with Forsberg behind him, I think, and they dragged out all the
He did a
tires.
540.
Yeah, he did.
Juha
It was
did
pretty
720.
impressive, actually.
Well,
and
it
then
was-
drove away the car.
There's Nate Hamilton,
Yeah, drove away too.
Juha, Danny. I mean, was the king of the tire wall.
But then there's so much dirt and gravel that all the tires drag out on the track and they clean it, but they don't exactly clean it properly. Like there's nothing like just having tarmac and rubber.
How hard
on,
would
you
you kick? Would you kick those tires if you could kick them right now?
know? About as hard as my Instagram.
Yeah,
video,
let's
914 points.
Let's see how hard would you kick people like.
Taco is referencing
Damn.
Instagram
Do you
story
know what's
where it
funny
talks
is-
about him using one of those
You can look at this video and you got 33,000 views on it.
cars you can, and then,
This
you
is
can
more
see
than
your
probably most of your
number.
drifting videos that you post on
Dave
there.
Roundhouse kicked it.
For sure, it's definitely got more of my drifting videos out.
Why does a video of you karate kicking I guess more people aren't in ninja kicks and they're actually into $100,000
Because it's
Vipers
awesome.
drifting into a
Maybe
tire
that's why.
wall? But who knows? Maybe we should just get into a kickoff contest.
That is cheaper than drifting.
Oh, just get a couple of nice pairs of shoes and some spandex pants.
Until you miss and
What's up with
kick
my
the fucking base and then break your foot.
It's quite soft, actually.
Did you practice that much?
No, we were myself, James, and Peter, and a few of the crew got into town a bit early on the Monday night, and we went for dinner and some beers and stuff. And boys been boys, when you go in and there's a boxing machine, it's like, oh yeah, watch this, I can hit it harder than you. And
So was that before or after we spoke to James Dean for our
this
podcast?
was after you spoke with James. We were waiting in the lobby for 40 minutes for him. Thanks, Sam.
Oh, sorry about that's why you jumped in the room and
Yeah, I was like,
harassed
come
us
on,
to
get out.
finish up with your buddy.
But
Yeah, I realized it was the same day because you were wearing the same like sailor shirt.
what's up with my shirt?
Oh,
Well, somebody
Oh.
just blew up into the call.
somebody just got in here. Let's see.
What's up, dude?
You added me. Someone added me.
Oh, look, it's drinking beer.
Do you know who it was? It was Big Balls. Big Balls is control of our Skype. So if he rudely interrupted you, are you pooping right now? Looks like you're sitting on a toilet.
No, I'm just sitting in my buddy's guest bedroom.
Oh, there you
nice.
go. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, if you can hold the cell phone like that for like an hour and a half, that'll be very nice.
No.
Yeah, I
No?
don't. I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
And who do we have the pleasure of being rudely interrupted by?
It's me, Kevin Lawrence.
Wait, Kevin Lawrence. Wait, hold
The
on
champ,
a sec.
the-
Corey, that name
The
sounds
champ
familiar.
is here!
Corey, why are you telling everyone that you're the Pro Tour champion? Isn't
I didn't think we were going to call Kevin today.
oh dang it!
Dang,
son of
Nevin.
a dang
The
it.
gig is up, Corey. We actually have the real Pro Tour champion
Well,
here.
we've talked about
Should
this.
I go,
we should talk.
or-
Well, Kevin, before you showed up, I'm actually thinking about trying to take the Pro 3 championship next year. So
Front wheel drive championship.
Dang.
it's all right. One step at a time. If I can't make it then, we'll just keep going down the ranks. But that's all right.
Corey's going to run one round of Southwest Drift, and then after that, he's going to do one for fun event, and then after that, he's going to bumper cars. I don't know, where do we go from there?
Well, he's definitely doing something right because he's still bringing in the sponsors. So, don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
exactly.
Actually,
Well,
I was
as we've discussed on this show heavily, you don't actually need to do well to get money. Apparently,
that's what I'm still trying to figure out. I'm actually that's why I spend so much time at Bridges Racing before my engine blew up. Actually, do you know what I forgot to tell people? Do you remember when I was loading my car in the trailer at your shop?
And I told you. I was like, it's not going to clear. Smash.
So this I forgot to talk about this, but when I was at Bridges Racing, Dean and Brian were there, and like this was like an all night fucking ramming our heads into the cars, trying to get these things working. You were still working on the Viper that night with Dan, and me and Keith were working on the Boss all night, and that's when we were just like, you know what, this thing's fucking done. Let's just load it up. It's gonna go to Seattle as it is. And so we had a trailer that we had to drive to Temecula. And it was me, Brian, Keith, and Dean, and we get ready to push it in the trailer. And I didn't hear this, but Dean's like, "Are you sure you want to push it in the trailer with the lip on it?"
And he's like, yeah, push it faster. It won't clear.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, it's not going to clear.
And we fucking went full steam into the trailer, ripped the whole front end off the car. I didn't tell anybody that, but if you look at the front of the Boss now, all the bumpers cracked to shit because of that. But yeah, that was setting the bar for what's going to happen the rest of the year for me, Sam.
yeah, I do remember some crack in the bumper, but I don't think you told me the full story.
Yeah, that's because Dean told me to push it in there as far as I can.
Well, Dean usually tells most people to do that.
Blame it on the Irish.
Yep. That's why he has all the sponsors.
So, Kevin, you planned all along, Texas starts Thursday morning. You're like, you know what? I'm going to win this championship. It's locked in. All I have to do is just drive like I normally do, and it's a sure thing for me, right? Because you won as everyone expected.
I mean, it was kind of going into the round for me. It was more, I looked at the points and knew that it was a possibility, but didn't really think that all the stars would align because it required all the guys above me to qualify lower in order for me to get the extra qualifying points, as well as having them, get knocked out in the earlier battles in order for me to make it to the end to get it. So going into Texas, really my goal was to really just shoot for like third place in the championship. I didn't think that first was really going to be, within reach until I got into like the 16 battles.
Yeah, because you're in fifth place going into this, and as we discussed briefly in our after hours with Lorette, like you didn't really go out there, like even though it was a slim chance of a possibility, like you were being a realist and thinking that, you weren't being Matt Field and saying I'm going to punch God in the face. You were thinking that you're going to do your best and hope for the best and see what happens. But you ended up winning the Pro 2 championship by 2 points, right?
Yeah, 2 points.
That's incredible.
That's all.
Yeah, it's wild. Like again, it was like just like all the stars aligned. Because everyone that was ahead of me in points they're really solid drivers, and so for them to have to all get knocked out, early in the competition was. At that point was just the super low odds for even my odds to come up higher. So, after I got to my battle in the 16 and most of those guys had already been knocked out, that's when I kind of realized that this could happen.
What position did you qualify?
Second.
Oh, so that's a good example of how like qualifying in a good place can actually take you, to give you that little extra. Where Travis Reeder qualified in what?
I believe around 8th, 9th, I think, or so.
But qualifying even second, though, that gets you 5 points. Winning the event gets you 100 points. So, but I mean, still, it does, as Paco's statement is, like, it's 1/20th the amount for qualifying high versus winning the event. But still, as we learned, every point matters. And those 2 points that you got, it's just incredible that sometimes the end results turn out this way. Yeah,
because if he had qualified third, he wouldn't have won.
Right. See, like I qualified 18th, and I almost won.
Dude, that was the craziest thing, by the way, because we were like, making fun of the top 33.
Shit, sorry. I have to interrupt really quick. I just saw. I'm looking at the standings. Corey Hosford has 1 point in the Pro 2 championship. He got one.
You know what? It's been a tough battle all year.
He got the point.
It's been
1 point.
Well, as soon as I heard I have 1 point.
How do you get 1 point?
Because I let it hang out, dude. Don't ask questions. I saw K Law miss a round, so I'm like, I might as well miss 3. At least I can beat him at who missed the most rounds.
How do you get 1 point?
I guess if you just show up, that's a participation point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get gold star.
Yeah. He turned a lap.
Corey, how much money? Let's talk real quick some budget stuff.
We
Your
were
program,
stalking
your point to dollar value here. How much is your 1 point cost you?
My 1 point cost me between the 2 rounds and only doing about 12 laps. It probably cost me like $8,000 to $10,000.
That's pretty good. That's not
So
bad deal.
I did the math actually. Listen to this. So I did the math. So I spent roughly about $4,000 to $5,000 to be at Pro 2, like bare minimum. Crew helped, everybody helped. That's plane tickets. That's my entry fee because I paid entry fee per round.
We had a
That's a bunch of Waffle House.
A bunch of Waffle House.
Chick-fil-A.
No, that's not even including food. That's just like basic expenses to run.
Oh, you got to include Waffle House, dude.
Oh, that's gonna be like $7,000. No, but let's say the budget was like $4,000 to $6,000. I did about 12 to 14 laps. My average cost per lap was about $350.
Hell yeah.
We worked it out in 2014 or 15 or something like that. We reckoned that per lap throughout the season was costing us like $480 a lap.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not
At least that.
But now I don't know how accurate it is.
Do you think that's higher or lower now?
That's
Higher
gotta be
for
higher.
sure.
How about you, Kevin?
Yeah. It's got to be in that same range. Like like you did it a couple years ago. We kind of like threw some numbers around, and it's literally a couple $100 a lap, to go out and just get practice to even try and qualify. It's crazy. It's especially like the Seattle event for us coming, being based out of Florida, just to get to the event is $3.5 grand almost in fuel to get there and back. So it's expensive round.
One of the.
Well, I was going to say that's the one thing that I really learned about this round is like you have to make sure your shit is ready to go if you want to come out and play. Like unless you're willing to blow that money away, it's like you have to make sure that you have plenty of time of development in the car. You got your team ready because you don't want to be learning when you're out there because when you do, it's costing you way too much damn money.
It's like every time you see that cloud of smoke coming out of the tires, pretty much just like throwing money into the track.
Yeah.
That's insane.
By the way, that was a Spanish sound for money being thrown
Money
onto
being
a track. Okay. I just wanted to be clear with that sound effect.
Thanks for the translation, as usual.
Hey Kevin, what round did you end up missing this year?
Yeah, I was just about to say Atlanta. I'm looking at the points right now. It's crazy that you didn't qualify or you just missed the round. Like what happened there?
I was out at Atlanta and just ended up kind of not only fighting a little bit of the car, but myself just kind of trying to get comfortable there. The year before, I had trouble with Atlanta with just getting the track figured out and the entry just right. And every time in practice, I'd try and come out and get, more focused on the entry than any part of the track. And every time I messed it up, it was just getting deeper into my head. So then the stress started building up. And finally, when I kind of got a half decent lap put together in practice, it was time for qualifying. And first run out, again, just kind of messed up with me in my head. And so I shut the car down, went back up, tried to, clear my thoughts to go for the second round. And at that point, when I entered, had the entry kind of set up right, dropped the clutch in fourth, and my car kicked itself from fourth into neutral. And you shut the car down there. So, definitely pretty upsetting event for, Atlanta being it's pretty close track to us, but it's only about the third time I've ever driven that track, really.
And even though you won in Long Beach, or excuse me, Orlando, what did you, after completely missing the competition in Atlanta, did you think that you had any sort of chance of the championship at that point?
No, after Atlanta, I just figured, it was definitely going to have to, really drive hard in order to finish up the last two rounds well, in order at least to finish in the top 8.
But you didn't Danny George and quit.
I didn't quit. No. We stayed focused on the end. I went after Atlanta, I got some practice in the car and just got a little bit more seat time to get comfortable. Seattle, I had driven 2 years prior, the first year of Pro 2 that I ran, and really enjoyed the track and loved it. So I knew that going into that round, with high hopes, I was going to have a good round, a good battle.
Well, it's really incredible what we're able to accomplish throughout this season, and it really does show that the Pro 2 championship points race is pretty volatile because there's 4 events. And what did you place in Monroe?
I believe I finished overall 5th out there.
Okay, yeah, so 2 first place and a 5th place, and that was a championship title. And one thing I noticed, I don't want to add any heat for my bro Dylan, but so Dylan Hughes, our buddy we talked to a few episodes ago, He got second place in Seattle at his first Pro 2 event ever. And even though I think no positions changed in the top 5 people, like everyone's positions kind of stayed the same. When you think about it, though, I think he beat Travis Reeder, and I forget if he beat Van Kirk or not, but those, just considering this is all just down to 2 points, like if Travis Reeder would have beat Dylan, then he would have had the championship. So Dylan, thanks a lot for ruining it for your buddy Travis.
Jeez.
But it's crazy. It's crazy how it unfolds like that. Like we think of these actions and these battles as somewhat inconsequential. Like, oh, this guy got to 16. Oh, this guy got to 8. And
It's in the final suddenly.
It's here or there. But then like when Irwindale comes around, or in this case when Texas comes around, every point matters. And we're going to see that again in Pro 1. Like James Dean is most likely, of course, going to win. But there is a minor chance that Osbo could just squeak by if Osbo qualifies high, James qualifies low, Osbo wins the event, James gets knocked out early. Like, and this, stranger things have happened, like the year that Forsberg lost to who did he lose to that year?
Osbo?
Yeah, that was the year he lost to No, well...
Hold on, Dean was saying something. What, Dean?
I think James only has to qualify.
Yeah,
James
he only has to qualify, so unless he does not qualify...
Okay.
I think I heard Sage saying that he needs to at least win top 32. But
I had heard that as well. But and real quick, what I was referencing previously was Essa versus Forsberg. But go on, I bet James Dean...
6 points behind, and you get 16 points to qualify into 32.
you know
if he
nothing,
qualifies,
Dean's
he
know.
wins. If he qualifies, he
Nice.
wins.
Yeah, because you're going to get 16
Yeah,
points.
and then he can't be caught because
He's already
All right,
behind.
so,
maximum
So
Osbo
what-
could get is 110 points for winning
Yeah.
the event. So
all right, Kearney, what is the Achilles heel of your team? No tire, pun intended. Like, how do we mess James Dean up so he doesn't qualify, so America can retain its honor and have Osbo win?
Yeah, so give it to Norway.
to be honest, they're two very good friends of mine. But I think James has it firmly in the bag. I don't see
Yeah,
something going
I
on.
congratulated him already in Texas because even though he's the humblest guy in the world, as we found out on our show, I congratulated him in Texas. He's like, oh, I don't know, there's still a chance. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, buddy,
Just
keep
brag.
saying it.
Nah,
And
he's,
just brag for a second, you bitch.
Hey, but like, look, it just goes back to exactly what Kevin Lawrence is after saying. It is not over until it's over. Like, you never
Yeah.
know what happens.
Yeah.
He
Oh
can,
yeah, like, in realistic things, like these cars are highly advanced. They
Exactly,
are
you
highly
can
technical and require
put out on the line and
incredible
blow a motor,
maintenance.
you know, so.
And he could pull up to the line for his qualifying first run, and the motor
Blow a
could
motor,
just
yeah.
immediately pop and not be able to switch a motor out between that and qualifying too.
Well,
Like stranger things have happened.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. You
Um,
say that, but that was just
boy-
reflection
but-
on your
No,
point.
no, no.
That could happen.
Yeah, but look what Kevin did. I mean, I'm sure everybody was like, Travis has it on his pocket already, and then
did you see the FD flyer that was on Instagram? It was like Travis Reeder and was Matt Van Kirk.
yeah.
It's like battling for a Pro 2 championship. And Kevin wasn't even on the... I saw that. I was
Excuse
like,
me?
Well, that kind of backfired a little bit.
Man,
little
you
bit.
gotta, Kevin, you need to print that out. And I forget what famous election it was, but there's like some presidential election where like the guy that was supposed to lose so hard that they never even printed.
Okay, what about
And
That
then-
was the Gore year, I think it was, wasn't it?
No, it was early. It's like a black and white photo. It might have been like a Truman election.
what
or
about-
something
what
like that.
about
But
to get
you should
political?
have the form of the thing of like battle of the champions, number 1 versus number 2, and then it's like, just kidding, it's me.
I'm trying to find the...
Maybe
there it
they'll
is
sign it
right
for
there. That's it. I'm going to link this to Big Balls because this is the flyer that they use like a Battle of the Champions. Travis Reeder and Matt Van Kirk.
Hey, are they brothers? They look really.
They
alike
look
in that
like
picture.
send
brothers, don't
it
they?
to send it to me, Corey.
All right, I'm going to send it to Yako.
Yeah. But Kevin,
Sorry, go on.
so yeah, when you realized that you had a chance, because I mean, I guess when you knew you had a chance was when Travis Reeder made a mistake and took himself out, right?
Correct. Yeah, that was the point where it really kind of hit me that there is now a chance. Obviously, still had to wait for Van Kirk to get knocked out, as well as even Josh Robinson was
Yeah.
ahead of me by a couple points going into that round. And then Dirk Stratton was ahead of me as well, but he had the mechanical issue before qualifying. So
What happened to? Do you know?
That was crazy. Yeah, his differential blew
What I
up.
heard, I guess, the differential blew up like right in his first qualifying pass.
That's rough.
And
Yeah,
Corvettes are not easy to replace diffs.
Yeah, he ended up blowing out his rear end.
Yep.
It blew out of his rear end.
Yeah.
Dirk.
Yeah.
But so when you knew like, oh shit, okay, I have a chance at this. I can be a champion right now. did you feel like way more pressure? Like, I mean, you probably were like, all right, I'm just gonna get there. I'm in a good position, probably getting my pro license. When you were like, oh shit.
I mean, kind of, yeah. Like it kind of hit really once Josh was knocked out too. Then at that point, I knew going into the grade 8 that I had at least third place in the championship. So that was already a big accomplishment for me. Like I came into the round in 5th. I moved up 2 positions, so I'm stoked on that. And then my 8th place battle with Sebastian Georgi was one of the ones I was really more nervous about because I'd driven with him in practice, and that car is so fast to try and keep up with. And so going into the grade 8, I was more nervous with him, I think, honestly, than most of the guys that I drove with. Everyone else is an amazing driver, but he was the only person I actually drove with in competition that I knew was that much faster than me. Yep. So, with me qualifying higher, I was able to lead first. And unfortunately for him, he ended up having, I guess, his power steering or his rack and pinion just blew up at that point after the first turn, and he wasn't able to fix it before the next battle.
Huh. I mean, yeah, it's like literally like everything lined up. And I mean, and you also, you did your part because it's not like it was just handed to you. You did still had a battle and you did a great job, dude. Like,
he worked his ass off, but there was a very specific set of events that occurred that it just it just highlights the insanity that is the dramatic ending of Formula Drift seasons.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was definitely a nail biter right at the end, and even in my first battle in the finals with totally getting smoked out behind Ola, and then just completely shorting the inner clip too, and running through the dirt. At that point, I figured, it's over. At that point, he's definitely going to take the win. All he's going to do really is, have a really good chase run behind me, and then he's going to have the win, and which would leave me in. I think at that point it was second place in the championship. So I mean. At the end of the day, I was still having, I was still super excited no matter how that battle went. So it was definitely super stressful right there at that point.
Well, kudos for you for not breaking under the pressure. And it actually sounds reminiscent of our interview last week with James Dean talking about how he went to Long Beach this year thinking like if I could just get one podium this season, I'd be pleased. And after he got the podium, he said the pressure was up, and then he's been kicking ass all year. And let's not say that that's why that he's been kicking ass all year by any means, but the fact that you set out to get just on the championship podium, and then you did, I imagine there was at least a slight relief for you that from then on those battles remaining, you could party, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, going into the grade 8, once I got through that battle, at that point, anything I got, I was just stoked on having, and at that point. I was just kind of shooting the shit with the guys on grid, the FD guys up there, just super stoked. I was like, oh yeah, just send me out, let me go. I can run this battle real quick and then potentially go to the next one and get the next spot on the podium. And they're, just laughing with me. And, I kept telling them, my most favorite part on, the whole event is just going to do the warm-up burnouts.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, it's just like, that's all I care about. I just want to do the burnouts, and then we can do the battle after. I just want to do the burnouts first. So, I was just messing with them the whole time up there and just trying to keep, positive and focused on, just where I'm at. I'm not trying to focus on, the big picture to where I would, at that point, just build that pressure on my shoulders and get super, nervous and make the mistakes that, that could potentially take me out.
Now, do you think this is kind of like you're redeeming yourself? Because if I'm not mistaken, last year you pretty much had locked your pro license, and Nate Hamilton, your teammate, he wasn't really like on the points to to get his license as well, go back to pro. And then on the last round here in Phoenix, he ended up finishing second. Like, just out of nowhere, he came back and he I think he took you by like 1 point or 2 points.
He took me out in the Great 16 battle of the finals there, and literally all I needed to secure a top 8 position was just to win that battle between him. And we did the math that evening before going into the battle, knowing that if I had at least gotten into the grade 8, I would have had my license. But Nate had to do pretty much exactly what he did, which was go all the way to the final battle in order to secure his license. And so he took me out last year from earning the Pro 1 license, but was able to battle his way all the way to the finals and earn his. So at least it was, for the team at that point, it was, you kind of take one out, but one still made it. So it was still an awesome end of the year for the whole team.
But I would say it's probably for the best because obviously you're a very good driver, Kevin, but I don't think you would have done much in Pro 1 this year. So I'm happy to see that you. I mean, I'm dead serious. Like, I mean, how would that
It's some tough love. It's Sam's tough love.
And let me preface this by saying I'm not a driver and I can't drive half as good as even a Pro 3 guy. But I'm just saying that I think that there's a bad
shit, Sam. I'm Pro
thing that
3,
exists
dude.
where Pro 2 drivers think they're ready for Pro 1 and they're not. And I think that you having an extra year in Pro 1 or Pro 2 has definitely made you a much better, more consistent driver and will only improve your chances. Otherwise, you could have gone to Pro 1 this year and gotten your ass kicked every corner of it and then just been disheartened and not come back. So
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Exactly. Like, I'm not upset at all at how last year ended with me having one more year in Pro 2. Even in my mind going into this year, I knew that, definitely needed more competition experience, more battles, with some awesome drivers as well before I'm ready to try and move up to that level. I mean, I could have came in this year and then who knows, drew the straw every round with, James Dean in the 32. And
right.
he's just on honestly on a completely different level than where I'm at, even at the end of this year. So,
yeah. I'm just of the opinion that you need to be able to win Pro 2 pretty consistently to even have a chance in Pro 1. So I mean,
well, let's see what Dean thinks about that. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
No, I definitely think it's right, and I think I know, like, all these things obviously happen for a reason, and I'd say it was the best thing that happened to Kevin was that he was beaten last year and stayed down. Like, I know he has a championship on his resume when he's going to speak to sponsors with, so I think it was a good thing for Kevin.
It's definitely it probably should feel a lot better to move on to pro as the champion than as the fourth or fifth place, right?
For sure.
Or in this one, what the case would have been was eighth place. Like that's not.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, coming in now, at least with the championship is definitely a booster for me, for motivation and all that. So I've got some plans for the off season to definitely get some more drive time in. And just kind of sharpen my skills to make sure that I can come into Pro 1 and actually have some kind of competition for these guys, because the skill level is still definitely a jump up from where I'm at going into Pro 1. So I want to be 100% as best I can to hopefully at least make a couple top 16s, if not even further into the battles. Next year would be my rookie year in Pro 1.
For sure. But that answered my next question, which is, it sounds like you are, in fact, going to jump up to Pro 1, and it seems like you are ready. What major changes do you have in place for you as a driver and your car? Because I'm sure you're already starting to think about that sort of thing.
I mean, we're going to run the same chassis next year. I don't want to make the jump to the more competitive series and a new chassis that I'm not comfortable with. So
that's very smart of you.
So we're gonna keep the same chassis. I'm gonna do it, full tear down, clean up of the car. We're looking to do some of the RB30 blocks for next year to try and get some more displacement, more power to the car.
We're gonna do an RB block in Pro 1.
Correct. Yeah, I'm going to bring the RBs over into Pro 1, so it's going to be pretty wild.
Dean, have you had some experience with RBs?
No, I don't know what to say about RBs. I just rather.
What about the roast beef?
Yeah, Corey loves RBs.
I like the Arby's melt.
Yeah.
Double
beef.
So I was going to ask you about that, because you said that one thing on the podium that you said you weren't going to change much going into Pro 1, which is obviously like the best thing you could have said, because you see people who make the jumps and they come out with this crazy wonky car that they never driven before, but it looks cool, and they go out there and they suck dingus. What power were you making this year, and then what's your goal for next year?
This year we're only doing about 660 horse wheel and about 490 foot-pounds torque. So the goal for next year is I'm pretty much going to turn the power up on the new engines until we see about the 750 mark in torque. I feel like that's just about the number that's going to be competitive for a lot of these guys that are making around that number a little bit more, to where hopefully I can keep up with them and not have to worry about, the whole year being just, having these cars just pull away from me mid-drift.
Hope it's not the Conrods you see and not the power fighters.
What was that again?
Hope it's not the Conrods you see and.
But do you think, and I'm not trying to shit on RVs, but you think it's safe and reliable to go with that kind of power on an RV going to pro?
To follow up, I was just about to say, I feel like RB motors kind of have a bad reputation for high horsepower.
Yeah, I mean, I know they've got, their own issues, and most motors usually do. RBs are pretty known for oiling issues and, just kind of failing in certain horsepower marks and all that before. I've definitely been through, a couple engines myself with, after my first year Pro 2, we pulled the engine apart and it had some cracks in the block. The second year, before the even first round, we had a nitrous backfire on the dyno, didn't notice any issues with it, and then our second or third run out in practice before the event even was taken off, we grenaded a motor and shot a rod out the side. So, a lot of engines I know all have their own gremlins, and the past 3 years of working with them, I think we've got nearly all of them sorted out. This will definitely be our first experience with the RB30 blocks and really trying to make more power out of them. So, it's most likely to be a little bit of a learning curve, but I feel like we should be able to make the power that I'm shooting for, super competitively and be pretty reliable going into Pro 1. Definitely trying to get them done as early as possible to get as much testing as we can in them to make sure that they will last to the abuse that we're going to put them through and the amount of runs that it's going to need to go through practice as well as qualifying and then potentially even all the way to the finals.
Well, if you go with a different engine, would you rather go with a Gallo 12 or a Gallo 24?
There we go.
There's the Fast and Furious reference for the episode.
That's
right.
The one. Yep.
Why don't you think there's many people running RBs in FD or at a higher level of drifting here?
I don't know. I mean, I know that they're they're super pricey to get into. The oiling issues, it takes some time to kind of figure out. I mean, last year Literal was in Pro 2 and he was running an RB as well, making more power than I was. It seemed pretty reliable. Officer Dan had his RVs and he had his good times and his plagues that, took him out on some rounds. So, there's been a lot of different, stuff with it. So I just don't know if, I've either just kind of figured out the formula that works with what I'm doing or if it's just luck on my side or what. But, we're just going to kind of run with it and go into Pro 1 and hopefully, like I said, my main goal is to try and hopefully go into it rookie, potentially take Rookie of the Year if possible, depending on how many guys move up from Pro 2 and, go from there and see what we can do with it.
And that's definitely something that is a bit of a unique side that I think is important to be noticed in a large field is you'll be the only RB guy in it for next year, I imagine. I don't know of any other people coming in with one. So, I mean, that's definitely something that you can call back to. And, of course, also being a Nissan with a Nissan motor, which is not too many people can claim that other than Forsberg.
But are you...
Yeah, there's not many of us left.
Yeah.
Are you married to the RB or would you consider a 2J?
I'm not married to it, but it's just been working for so long. Like the RBs kind of fell in my hands from one of my crew guys. It was my first one was actually his that he was going to put in his personal Datsun Z car, and we ended up putting it into one of the cars we had at the shop that I drove around and then ran pro with. So I've kind of fallen into RBs that they were never really something that was really super keen on or really followed or had any much interest in, and just kind of they started working. Had ups, had some downs with them, but it's been super reliable for the most part. And really the thing that, keeps me, I think, going for them is the sound that they make is just, obviously on their own level, their own note. So definitely want to try and keep that going, especially with the whole Nissan relationship and the chassis as well.
So we also have now a kind of unique situation that we're currently in on the show. You're talking to what I would consider a pretty successful Pro 1 driver. Do you have any questions for a successful Pro 1 driver as you make the transition?
Oh, man. I've actually had just kind of curiosity questions for Dean on the chassis he's in.
Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
What was
it? Boxers. Nothing. I couldn't remember.
Oh, Commando D.
What was? Go ahead and repeat that question again. Was that it? Paco jumped him.
Was the chassis the Viper chassis? Is that something that you chose, or is that something that you just kind of been going with?
I suppose I've been kind of going with it. Kind of had a love affair with him from remember coming home from the airport with my dad when I was about 8 years old after being on vacation, and we stopped in our hometown and they had a Viper in a showroom or whatever. It's the first ever one I saw, and I was like, holy shit, that thing is beautiful. And then I always liked it, like as a kid. Obviously growing up I was into cars and stuff, and I drove 2010 an S14 over here, and halfway through the season I just was randomly speaking with Hubinette when we were walking to driver's briefing, and he told me that there was a C possibly coming up in the Viper for the following year, and he would like to have me on board or whatever, and we just kind of figured out a deal from there. So, but then I obviously was, after getting into chassis, and I know the car has so much potential. It's super fun to drive. It's a real challenge. It's a bit of a pig most of the time, but when it does work out, it's really enjoyable, and it's not like anything else on the grid. Like, it's the only one in the world drifting, so
yeah, for sure.
You know?
I sat in your car actually at the shop. I don't know how you see or fit in it.
Yeah, like how you have to sit. Like, I'm 6'3", and I have to lie back basically in the car, and you're looking out like a tiny gap. It's like about 7 inches between the banner on the windshield and the top of the steering wheel. You can see nothing out of it. But like,
it's literally the most uncomfortable thing I've ever sat in. Just for that reason, you can't see in it, and it is so freaking tight. Like, the driver compartment is super narrow.
yeah, it's very small. It's like comparable to a Honda S2000, that kind of fitment size. But yeah, it's a bit of a struggle, but I do enjoy the car. We have toyed around with different ideas of running a different chassis for this year, and then we decided not to, and we spoke about it again for next year. But who knows? We're kind of on the fence with a few things at the moment.
Yeah.
Are you working on some other deals for next year in a new chassis, maybe?
I wouldn't say on a new chassis, but we're definitely always working on deals. Like, we don't sleep, you know.
Follow-up question: Do people mistake you as Hulk Hogan in Ireland?
Nick Hogan, they say.
Oh,
Wrong Hogan.
Yeah, wrong one.
So one thing I remember just from my valet days of valeting rich people's cars, Vipers are just like you said, they seat such weird positions. Like, the hood feels like it's a mile long, and at least driving the older ones was just so disconnected and strange feeling. Like, it did not feel like a dialed in car.
The funny thing is, on Wednesday is the first ever time in my life I sat in and drove a completely stock Viper. I never sat in one before, ever.
Yeah.
And
What'd you think?
oh my God, if I paid $100,000 for them, I would not be happy. No, there's definitely, like, if you drive it slow, there's the feeling of this car has a mind of its own. But when you start kind of pushing on up around like 100, 120 mile an hour, it starts to kind of come like into its own. It's like a real race car, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
I want one of those. I want one of those early '90s like convertible ones with a side exit exhaust you burn your feet on. And the best part is, you know how you get one of those? You go on eBay and you have like $20,000. Like, I'd like that car, and then that's how you get one.
But isn't there a statistic? 50% of the Vipers driven off the lot have been crashed within like the first 2 months.
Oh, I'm sure.
wow.
100% say that's accurate for sure. They're a death trap. Yep. But there's
You're
something
great.
cool
You're a
about
great
it.
ambassador for Dodge right now.
No, like look, look, I don't have any fulfillment with Dodge or whatever, and that's obviously not why I'm driving the car. Like, I drive it because I love it, and it's a kind of a car that you either love or hate. Like so many guys say to me, it's such a douchebag car or whatever, but then like it's also such a
no, that car rips. I love stock Vipers, dude.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is Dean being an American patriot that he is, it only makes sense to have him in the most American car we have.
I just looked on eBay, and there's so many Dodge Vipers for $20,000 to $30,000.
Oh, but
God,
wait for all the victims from the hurricane. There's probably gonna be a few of them out there.
But
here's one right now that has it's for $20,000. It has 4 days left, but you can do buy it now. It's on a bunch of $30,000 ones.
So Kevin's car is unique, and I didn't even realize this, but your car's right-hand drive too, Kevin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Is that a 180, or did you do like a firewall swap or something on it? And why did you do that? Why would you go to right-hand drive conversion?
So initially, we ended up at Njuku through the shop. We had that R32 that we built now this year into a demo car, and that was going to be like a Pro 2 car if it ever came the time to be. So my first year Pro 2, I was running that S13, the gold S13 that was right-hand drive as well. And that was a car that I bought to really just get practice with for the R32 because I hadn't had much drive time with it. And so I ended up running the Pro-Am with the S13 and then just kind of running the car up with just a little bit more power into Pro 2 my first year wrote that car off in Irwindale that year and decided at that point I really liked because we had gone to the Wisefab steering and all that. I was really comfortable with it and wanted to stay with a similar chassis. So we ended up not using the 32 for competition, and I went with the S14, and I've been running that the last 2 years now.
Now, why the S14.3 though?
I just wanted something different. The 14.3 is something that I've actually personally always liked, and I've always wanted like a street car like 14.3. And so it took a bit of convincing for the guys at Njuku to actually let me do it and to get them to, jump on board with getting us, some extra time to kind of fab the fenders up to work with the car and make it, kind of all come to life. And a lot of them were, really, not for it. They were kind of against it when we first started doing it, even into the fab work. And then after, once it was all said and done and the car was wrapped initially for the first year, everyone sat back with that and they're like, wow, actually, it actually looks really good. And they were pretty happy with how it came out. So,
Yeah.
I've got a lot of people still that look at the car, even, in the hot pits, they come up and they're like, ask me questions about it. And they keep thinking it's still a 13. And then they have to step back. And we know it's a 14. And then they step back and look at it like, oh, wow, like I never even noticed the back of the car. They always just focus on the front. So it's kind of funny in that reason.
Yeah, I like it. It looks very different. And I never really saw an S14.3 until you came up with it. I was like, wow, that actually looks pretty cool.
Are you going to make it do for it?
He's got doof.
Oh, he does.
He's doof.
He's
Yeah.
a doofalicious.
Yeah, thanks for the shout out, Kevin, by the way.
Hey, so when are you going to start making doof for this guy? Because he crashes more than anybody I've ever met.
Doof Viper?
Oh, man.
Doof Viper.
Nah,
Did you run a body kit on your car, or do you have one on there already? Is that factory?
No, it's all factory body panel. Well, it's race program.
I think
parts.
Vipers are the kind of car that look fine with the stock. Where 240s they do react very good to body kits. I think Kevin's car is one example where it looks so different having a different kind of body kit.
That was a
I'm
free
looking.
plug.
I'm looking at this '94 Viper on eBay. You should just go to one of these.
Sam is just
Sam,
like
you've been Viper
fixated
shopping.
on the Vipers
I'm
now.
gonna-
I am.
I'm
No,
gonna-
because it's got like a plastic side exit exhaust. It's got a bunch of parts off the Cavalier from the same year.
No, it's from a Neon.
It's got neon. It's got a bunch of it's got plastic windows.
Yeah, but you gotta be you gotta be like 5'6" or shorter to get in a Generation 2 Viper.
Sam's a petite man.
They're
He'll fit.
tiny.
Petite at a solid 5'9". Yeah.
I have a picture of James sat in this one.
So what do you think, Kevin? Are you sold on the Viper, or are you staying in 240?
I think everything that Dean said about them, how good they are, I think that's an easy jump.
Yeah.
No, they are great.
Yeah,
they're a great car.
totally sold on it, yeah.
Hey, did you hold on? This is Dean. Didn't you let Daigo drive your Viper?
Oh my God.
Yeah, Daigo drove it in Canada, and so did Robbie actually. And
Oh my God, this is a Towns bicycle.
Yeah, and so what did they say about it?
Daigo said I was crazy. He said I should go to a hospital. He said and get my head examined. This was after going through all the bales and across the grass.
Was his head sticking out on top
Okay,
of the...
Put it on the camera. Show the camera. Come on.
This
there you
is
go.
James Dean sitting in a Viper,
His-
and he looks
his
like Henry
forehead
and the
is sticking-
Hendersons.
His forehead sticking out of the windshield.
Hey, Brian, can you switch to our...
Yeah, no, you can see him. Yeah, like,
See it?
okay.
yeah, I see it.
See that? Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
closer.
There you go. Wow.
Nice. You guys would just look like twins in that
Kevin,
thing.
you're like what, like 6'1"?
Yeah, about 6'1", yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Viper for you, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little, not going to work.
Have you ever thought going back to like S13, S14?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's done deal. Just swap Kevin cars. There you go.
No,
Swap
actually,
cars.
myself and James were speaking in Texas, and I said to him, "Hey, if luck happens, like, and you win the championship tonight, like, I'm driving your car, and our last round, yeah."
Oh, nice.
And unfortunately, it didn't happen. So
Jesus.
Oh,
Should we hit Kevin with some Instagram
Yeah,
questions?
you want to get some Instagram questions, Kev? There's some for you, Dean, as well, but we're gonna save them for the end. Let's
Here we
see.
go.
Yeah. And we obviously, as you probably know, we only ask hardcore questions that you have to be ready for this.
uh-oh.
Max Frolic asked, Why don't more competitors use RVs? Are they that stupid?
Yeah, I mean that kind of goes back to the whole thing. Is they've got a lot of known issues, and just luckily we've had pretty good years with them and experience, and we've kind of gotten a lot of the bugs figured out. Next year, I'm going to be going to an awesome dry sump from Daily Engineering with them, so should have pretty much at that point all of the oiling issues figured out and overcome. So it's just a matter of whether or not we can get the car together to make the power that we want and be reliable at that power level.
Nice. I have another one from Cami Bordelon. So she's asking, are you and Nate Hamilton going to be at Enjuku Racing Team for Pro 1 next year?
I mean, as far as I know, we're looking to do hopefully about the same thing and keep teammates. Nate's back in Texas now, so it's going to be a little difficult as far as traveling together, but going into next year.
He moved back to
What's
Texas?
that?
He moved back to Texas?
Yeah, he moved back to Texas about 4 weeks ago now.
Oh.
So I think he's kind of homesick with being in Florida, and maybe the hurricane scared him. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how are you affected by the hurricane?
Well, I'm still not home. I'm up at the Midwest now at a couple buddies' house. Stay until probably the end of the week. But I've got updates from roommates and my parents all that back home that all the houses down there, within the family are good. Didn't take any damage or anything heavily. So we love.
What area do you live in?
We're in Claremont. I'm like literally like a mile away from Enjuku, the shop. So, we're pretty central to Florida, and I think we got about maybe 90-mile-an-hour gusts. So luckily it wasn't too bad. I know a lot of the guys down, South Florida got hit pretty bad, and there's a lot of damage down there. Miami got pretty flooded. So, thoughts are out to them, but hopefully nothing too bad down there for those guys.
All right, here you go. Here's a question. Outlaw Evans. Thoughts and experience with Pro 2 tire rules over the season. Should Pro-Am series follow to prevent it becoming a horsepower war? So basically, do you think Pro-Am series should adapt the same tire rule that Pro 2 has? And do you think Pro 1 should adapt a rule as well?
That's kind of a difficult one. With the Pro 2 guys, the 255 rule that we were kind of stuck on this year was definitely pretty challenging to find grip in the cars. Some of the guys were able to find a little bit better than others with just more time in the car and all that. For the Pro-Am stuff, definitely I wouldn't say it's a bad thing to do to kind of follow the same rule, because I've been to a few, local Pro-Am events and stuff and watched literally, people with a lesser budget trying to run a car that makes 300 horsepower against a car that's 850 on 295s. And it's just, at that point, it's just nothing is really fair for these guys. So, for the Pro-Am stuff to kind of have some kind of limit on tire, I don't think would be too terrible of an idea. I don't know if a 255 is where I'd cap it at, maybe 265, but, something like that wouldn't be a bad idea.
I have one right here. You guys get?
You go ahead, you fire it off.
I think this guy is a big fan of yours. His username is Jeff Jones Racing.
Oh, here we go.
And he's asking...
Junkyard.
Junkyard Jones.
Well,
shout out to Jeff. Thanks for not running Pro 2 and taking me out every round.
I know. What a dick, that guy, right? He's asking, why don't you sign autographs? And who is the secret Hankook driver? Is that some kind of inside joke?
Yeah. The season's pretty much over. I guess we can kind of let this one out now. So literally, I've been trying to sit at all the pro autograph sessions. However, FD's not wanting any of the Pro 2 guys on it for whatever reason they have. So they wouldn't allow me to go there for it. But on the Hankook posters for all their drivers, I'm included on it, being that I've got, I think, the only Pro 2 car with Hankook tires. And so at all the autograph sessions, Jeff is literally telling everyone that, because I'm in all the rounds already, whether it's a Pro 2 round or not. So I'm there with Nate and helping them out. So he's kind of letting all the fans know that I'm kind of like the secret driver. I'm here at this round, get my autograph. And at the end of it, once you collect them all, he's telling them that one of the other Hankook drivers, I think it rotates each round, has got a secret prize to give him. So I'm kind of curious on how that's been going throughout the year. If some of these other Hankook drivers have had a bunch of people kind of go up to him asking for the secret prize for getting all the signatures on the poster or not. So it'll be fun to see how this kind of comes out now. if anyone's going to step up and say that people have actually come up to him and asked for it or not.
Nice. Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Blackhand Brandon, he must be a big fan of yours as well. Blackhand Brandon, he goes, "You more of a boob dude or a butt kind of guy? I'm asking for a friend."
I'm all about butts.
Yeah, boy. High five.
Got him.
But.
Real man. That's a real man.
Right?
Yep.
Look at J. David Rich says, Kevin Lawrence, how do you like the Hankook RS4s this year?
Hates him.
They're the best. Honestly, like the grip level from them, from other tires I've run, has been amazing. And even the first couple times running on them, I was surprised just how gripped up the car was. So shout out to Hankook and JD for hooking me up with those. We ended up, I believe, being the only actual sponsored Hankook car in Pro 2 to run through and take out the championship. So it was a super awesome season. I couldn't have done it without them. Appreciate it.
There's a good one from Jay Money. Jay Money says, what are some tips you can give on building a cost-effective drift car as a 19-year-old and wanting to be able to daily it too?
Oh,
Sounds tough. But,
Viper.
But what's your Viper? Yeah. I mean, you can get them for $30,000 now, so why not?
Viper.
Yeah. It's funny because being in Texas, I was talking to a lot of my buddies out there that run the Lone Star stuff, and they do that street legal. And I was saying, for kind of like a most cost-effective car for getting into that stuff, the 335i, like BMWs, have actually come down pretty far in pricing.
Mm-hmm.
And with some basic mods, intake, exhaust, and a tune can actually put out some pretty decent power. And in my eyes, I think could be pretty competitive.
335i still seems kind of expensive. How much are they when you say they've gone down?
I've seen a few between $6,000 and $7,000. A few under $10,000. So I mean, it's like the first 2 years that they've come out, but you can usually pick up a 6-speed one, I think, for sub $10,000. So it's not too terrible to get into.
Damn, that's pretty good.
I have a question right here from Tomimoto Films. Hi, Tommy. He's in Florida too, right? He's like,
which one is this?
Tomimoto Films.
I believe so. That's not too familiar to me.
Yeah, he's asking, do you feel some drivers have a home track advantage? Like, do you think you would have an advantage in Orlando, and why? And also, what track should they replace Irwindale with for Pro 1?
I mean, home track advantage, I see definitely some drivers could potentially have a little bit of advantage too. Being Orlando was our first round is my home track. It's one of the tracks I'm just most comfortable with, just kind of hucking the car up at the wall and not worried about, the outcome of it. I've definitely had my fair share of crashes and bumps with the wall that's taken me out of competition before, but it's definitely one of the tracks, just being that it's home, that I'm pretty comfortable with just kind of throwing the car all around at to where I don't have to worry. So, a lot of the guys that have, whether it's, look at Pro 2 with Seattle. Van Kirk, I believe his home track is that, is Monroe. So he, kind of came through and swept all of us out for Pro 2 and took the win there in Evergreen. So it's definitely, I think the home track advantage is actually real. And, some of those guys, when they really put their mind to it, got the easy, kind of easy win if they really push for it.
Yeah. Cool, you guys have? I have one right here. If you guys don't,
go for it.
Yep.
Okay. These ones from first-time listener, last-time caller, XX Beaver Bay 420XX. I just love saying that. I'm gonna ask this one to both you and Dean. So the question is, if you could give Corey, Jared, and Osbo nicknames, what would they be? Who wants to start?
Off the top of your head, that's pretty damn tough, but
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You want to go, Dean?
Soft cock for Corey.
Soft cock for Corey.
that's a good
Okay.
one.
It's accurate.
Pushing
Then
rope.
Jared.
Jared, I don't know. I actually don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Can you just give all three of us the same nickname?
Just call them all soft cock.
Soft cock. One soft cock,
But
soft cock tree.
So James was like, what did you say, Paco? If Dean was here right now, what would he say? And he's like, oh, he calls everybody's Ted.
Yeah, no, well, back over home is like calling someone like buddy or mate or whatever. If you have friends and you call them Ted, so basically we all call each other Ted.
And then what was your guys word for dick? Like Billy or something like that?
Dingus.
Willie.
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 Yeah,
Or
Willie.
Mickey.
Okay, so
Thanks
same-
for that quick tutorial on giving us the proper grammar. And
Kevin.
he could call them all soft cocks too, Kevin. It's all right.
I'm terrible with nicknames, honestly.
What is your
honestly have to
nickname? Yours is what's your nickname?
They call me
Kayla, though.
There's,
I like Kayla.
Yeah,
Kayla.
It's
I
simple.
think that's the easiest one for most of them. So
But Jared he hasn't christened you with in some like nonsense
What would
nickname
be
yet.
a good? What would be?
It's not so much. It's not so much a nickname as much as just how I've referred to Jared recently. And Jared also told me recently that he can't sit through an entire 2-hour episode. There's no way he's ever going to hear this. He told me, or I call him I compare him to a SpongeBob SquarePants made out of meat. In relation to his body size, because he's pretty much shaped like a rectangle.
Yeah.
He is
like a 6-foot rectangle.
with the little watermelon on his shoulders.
And half the time he's not even wearing a shirt, so he's just wearing shorts all the time.
Exactly. So therefore, he looks like a SpongeBob made out of ground beef. And that's Jared to me. So that's ground beef SpongeBob, and that's Jared now.
I got another one. Not to get too far off topic, and then we'll start rolling over to Dan again because he's over here whacking the pud. But
he's got to drive back to Ireland right now. By the way,
yeah, he has to drive all the way back to Ireland.
He's towing his car all the way there.
This is from Matty R. Drift. RB25 Neo or RB26 and why?
I would probably. It depends on, I guess, the power you're looking for, but I always lean for the RB25 stuff. We still retain the VCT that they have in them, just to kind of get a little bit more mid-range, low-end power for them. So I think the RB25 stuff is kind of what I'd lean towards.
I think Kearney would recommend double the cylinders.
Double is
You're V10, yeah.
V12?
Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
Nice.
It's close enough.
Nailed it.
It's no Lamborghini, bro.
Well, I mean, you've seen people doing it, right? So,
Should we start firing some questions off of this young lad next to us here?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
Kayla,
real quick though.
Kayla,
someone in the YouTube
Kayla,
chat
you can
who probably Corey.
What's that?
Someone in the YouTube chat who probably never thought we'd pay attention to them, named Mattresses, just said, "I'd kiss Corey Hosford's asshole." So,
You never know, man. You know, I appreciate that, Matt. I hope to meet you one day. I hope to meet you, buddy.
Rusty trombone.
Hope to meet you. Give me the got a rusty trombone, buddy. So we'll fire some off to Dean over here, and Kayla, stay on the line, dude. And you can make some up and fire them at Dean as well. You just have to make up a unique Instagram name if you do want to make up your own questions. But
I have one right here. You guys ready?
Go, fire it off.
Question.
Let's get this guy on the horn here.
Let's roast this Irish meatloaf. Is XSV219. Why do you look so sad?
Do I look sad?
I
am after driving for the last 20 hours with no company.
I guess
and
he's
poor
like
AC.
talking about like all the time.
He's in solitary confinement.
Oh.
I assumed you had to be pretty desperate to want to hang out with us.
Yeah, I was pretty stuck for someone to go for dinner with.
Actually, I think what it is, and because I get that a lot, because my eyes are kind of like down like this side, and I think yours are kind of like that as well.
When I-
like pointing down.
When I show up in any event, I'm jet lagged because we never get in until just before the event, and I don't sleep obviously then. So that's probably
Paco,
why I look
thankfully, Paco can loan you his large sombrero that he usually falls asleep under.
Sure, you can have it.
He's so sleepy.
Blackhand Brandon has been dropping some really good questions on
Wow.
us. He said, obviously, he's seen your viral video that got 33,000 views. He goes, "How long have you known karate for?"
That was my first time. I put my back out actually.
Whatever. I mean, if it wasn't because you were like holding yourself with one hand, I would say
no way, did you see
your
it?
form
You
was
saw it, did
perfect.
you?
Of course,
Oh my
dude.
God. So many people didn't notice it though. You know?
Yeah, it looked super cool. Like, if you don't notice that you're like holding yourself, it's like, whoa! Especially like after the kick, like the half turn you landed like right in front of it. It's like, damn. But yeah, I mean.
Do you know what's funny
Didn't
is
fool me.
I'm going to introduce you as the viral karate sensation every time we go anywhere. All right, not a drift driver.
And if you missed what we were talking about, we mentioned it earlier, but there is a video on Dean Kearney's Instagram of him roundhouse kicking a punching bag, essentially. So check it out.
Yeah. Let's see.
I got one again.
Corey?
I got one again. I'm going through these right here. All right, you ready for this, you bloke?
Yeah.
JT Briggs 49. When will he start driving straight up and not wrecking the lead or chase guy? Just about every round he's wrecking someone in competition or practice. I'm asking for a friend, by the way.
Who have I wrecked? Field, I did wreck Field, and that was lost in the smoke. There's that saying again, you know. But
that was in Atlanta, right?
in Canada.
Okay.
Canada, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy about it.
No, he wasn't. But like, it's racing. Like, shit
well,
happens.
yeah.
Like everyone's pushing 100%, and
Yeah,
That's it, you
that's
know?
the thing. Like, if you're not wrecking, you're not driving hard
yeah,
enough.
exactly. Like,
Yep.
fucking, not going to be a pussy and wait around and.
We haven't
See,
seen
like,
a
I'm
big.
gonna go for a
we haven't
gap,
seen
you
a
know?
big wreck from Kevin. Kevin, when are you gonna wreck?
Oh, come on, Puck.
I mean, I had some wrecks last year.
There
This
you
year's
go.
been pretty good. So
I mean, Long Beach is always a good place to wreck. So
Yeah,
I feel
you
like-
gotta
yeah,
get
that's
the experience
why,
that
that's why I
one,
don't
dude.
want to build a new car. I
Didn't-
don't want to really just write it off the first round of the year. So
Didn't you have a big wreck in Long Beach before?
Yeah, media day.
Those are the best.
Posted. Smoked the car on media day. 2014. Like, wrecked.
Brand new, fresh
Brand
off
new,
the
fresh,
ground.
second lap.
Boom, let
Power
Jesus take the wheel.
I transitioned under the bridge and the power steering belt came off because there's so much weight in the front of it. There's no steering, so it was just stuck there. I was like, "Oh, I'm a passenger." Yeah, that wasn't.
oh
cool.
no.
You buried it with the media guy in the car?
No, there was no one in it, thank God. But I broke the spoiler off the back and it came through and hit my helmet. I was like,
Jeez.
thanks very much.
Kevin, you have a question for Dean?
I haven't come up with a good one yet, so we'll keep going, and I'll get something for him.
I have a question actually.
alright,
So
go ahead.
I was just
Oh,
watching
no.
your mesmerizing roundhouse kick video again, which it truly is mesmerizing. But I was reminded looking at your other pictures on there about how I think that your lighting in your car, your Oracle lighting, your headlights, I imagine that's who they're made by, they are blinding. Like, it's crazy how they allow you to have that, because if I was like in the lead car, I would be upset about it's so strange though, because it's not like it's blinding because it's bright. It's just like it puts you like in a psychosis. It's strange, like this purple hue of your lights that just, it's like a blind spot. It's strange.
Right.
But
So how would the headlights be a problem though? Because if I'm the lead car, the chase car can't see the headlights.
no,
and
I
if
said
I'm
when
the
you
follow
wanted like
car-
lead car. When I'm at Pro 1 eventually, I'm the lead car. You're chasing me.
And how are the headlights going to affect you when you have
Those
fire smoke
circles.
coming off the back of your car? And if you have time to be
Because-
looking in the mirrors, there's something wrong.
So you're
you're
saying that
not doing
people in the
course.
chase car should have whatever kind of lighting they want?
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna fuck you up so bad. I'm just gonna get some super bright, like rally
Like a
floodlights.
chase light. Like
We did have to change them actually. We had like redder lights on the front, and Kevin Wells made us change them out for blue or whatever.
Oh,
so
because it
he
looked
kind
like
of
brake
upset
lights.
yeah, he upset our livery and everything.
Nice. Yeah, Kevin always hurting everyone's feelings, right, Corey?
Yep. Screw him. I got a question here from T-Mac Photo. Will you be driving the third workhouse car next year?
There is no third workhouse.
I know, but are you going to be a workhouse
Yeah.
car next year?
Who knows? But no, like there's so many things to be spoken about.
Season's
But,
not over yet.
Exactly. This season's not over, and I'm happy enough in my own car. I'm enjoying obviously driving the Viper and the challenges it brings up along the way. But yeah.
I have a question here from Mr. Hot Dogs for Legs 6969 saying, Dean, are you going back to Pro 2?
I might do.
Think about it. Kevin, how much do you get paid for winning a Pro 2 round? Is it like $3,000?
I think it's 1,500.
Is it
Is
really?
what first is? Yeah.
I thought it was more than that for some reason. I thought it was like
Nah.
3 Gs to win.
No, it's like 1,500 for
All right,
first.
never mind. You don't want to come back down.
Yeah.
Here's one for you.
Hey, it's cheaper. There's less events as well. So.
Yeah. Not to mention, I was just being a dickhead because there's no username. Hot Dogs
Paco.
for Legs 6969. Fool you, everybody.
So this is actually a really good one, and I'm curious about this too. And it may hit you in a soft spot. Drift Illustrated asked,
Ooh.
tell us how you landed the Gas Monkey Garage deal, and how did that work out?
I actually was just speaking with the guy on the phone just before I pulled up. That's what took me so long getting out of the truck.
Really?
The guy who I built this street car for, his name's Tommy Strader, and he's an owner of 360 Wraps, and he's involved in the Gas Monkey deal. So we've been speaking over the years about it and stuff, and yeah, we just ended up with a lot of the same kind of connections or whatever, and just kind of worked out. But it was only like a short-term deal or whatever, because they have a very new product that they don't have a lot of marketing dollars to throw around at the moment. But the door is always open there, and we do still carry it like on my helmet, so we do actually have a small athlete deal.
Nice. So you still work with them, and do you think they're ever going to come back around?
Maybe, yeah. Like I said, at the moment we're working out like as an athlete deal, because we obviously need to have X amount of dollars in the program to function, and we can't give away stuff for free, unfortunately, because the program doesn't function.
Right. And they're based out of Texas, right? So wasn't the deal exclusive to Texas round in Irwindale?
Yeah, we done it for Texas last year, and then we carried on delivery for Irwindale as well. And we done a segment on one of their TV shows also.
Did you actually get more fame being on the TV show? Did you recognize them, or they're like, oh, that's just some wonky dude from Ireland?
It's funny now because it's only shown over in Ireland actually like last month or whatever. So I'm starting to get like loads of texts off people. Hey, the car looks badass. I'm like, it looks different now though.
Yeah, that was a year ago.
Sam, you have anything?
Nope.
All right. Sam, ask this guy a hard question, damn it, and then we'll be done.
All right. Kearney.
Mm.
Who do you think you are?
Oh, that's a Sam classic.
Who do I think I am?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, what kind of a fucking question is that?
Well, you know what fucking kind of question it is, and also here's a follow-up. What gives you the right?
To do what? What gives me the right to do what?
Wow, what an amateur.
Yeah. Why are you afraid? You afraid, dude?
Who do I think I am? I don't think I'm anyone. I think I'm myself. I'm definitely my own person. I don't try to follow or be the same as anyone else or whatever. I just do my own thing, and that's it.
I must say you're one of, in my opinion, one of my favorite drivers because you are pretty legit. Like you don't really put on airs, so to say, but you're not like a total dickhead like Matt Field.
Matt Field's not a dickhead. He's my good friend. Leave him alone.
I know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, and he knows I'm kidding, of course, because I kissed him on the cheek during our live AEM session.
No, I think it's
at Texas. So Matt Field, I'm joking with you, but you also know you're a dick too. Matt Field would agree he's a dick, and I think that you would also maybe agree that you're kind of a dick, Kearney, and I find myself in good company because I think that I would also self-admittedly am kind of a dick.
I wouldn't say I'm a dick. I'd say I just say things how it is, like fairly black and white, and don't sugarcoat it.
And most people consider that being a dick.
But like, why? Like, I think it's better
because that's how society is, man. They don't want people to not sugarcoat things.
No, because everyone should be able to show their personality and not have to kiss ass. You know,
but that's not how it is, bud. That's not how it is. So you're a dick by default. So am I. So is Matt Field.
We're not dicks.
And,
We're not.
Do you know what I just watched, Sam? I watched Big Balls Brian turn his head around, pull his microphone to his face, and get in the question position. I think Big Balls.
He's ready.
I think Big Balls is ready for a question. All right, Brian, you're on the spotlight, buddy. Who's it for, and what do you got?
Brian, our sound engineer for the apps. Brian's got one. What you got, Brian?
Real quick, we know we've seen many Irwindale rounds in the years in the past where it seems like one driver in particular who has been doing not so good for 7 rounds, all of a sudden, like a switch goes off, and they just go on fire. Like we've seen Matt Field do this in the past. We've seen years ago JTP and then FC battling Tanner Faust. That was like just boom. So I was curious, if say the scenarios that Dean isn't able to win the match or the round, who would you think would be that one driver that comes out this round, as in like that switch goes off, that you've seen from the rounds this year?
He should ask all the questions. He's the
Jesus.
most intelligent guy in the room.
Big Balls had about an hour and a half to think about this question.
He's the most intelligent guy in the room. Like, that's the best question.
Why do you think he's holding all the electronics?
Dude, before you got here, Corey broke both our screens just like trying to turn them on. That's how bad he is.
Okay, who do I think could be the shocker of the season? I can tell you who's probably the most underestimated driver, and I think he has fantastic natural ability, is
Kevin Lawrence.
Yes, obviously Kevin, but he's not going to be in.
I have a driver that I'm going to guess, but I want you to go first.
Peter Witchick, and I'm not just saying that because we share the same team or whatever, and we're closely knit. But I think
he could easily get a first place podium if
easily
stars align.
I don't even think the stars need to align. I just don't think he's unlocked his full potential over here, because
he needs to kind of like get it, like just like get used to it, right? Because his battles are pretty good. Yeah,
it's probably not fair because he's been compared to James a lot, and James is like.
Yes, well, it helps that they look nearly identical in racing suit and car, but.
James is probably arguably in the top 3 best drivers in the world in a drift car, and Peter is right up there as well. And the only guys like Peter and probably 2 other guys are the only ones over the last 5 or 6 years over in Europe have been actually able to challenge James on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And I think when Peter gets his feet under the table, like this season was obviously a learning curve for him and figuring everything out and not adapting as fast as James is what everyone thinks. I wouldn't agree. I've seen him in practice or whatever, and he's just been absolutely killing it. And just stuff hasn't worked out in qualifying, like with bad luck with cars breaking and not been 100% for him or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it sucks that he's always, at least for this season, is going to kind of live under the shadow of James Dean, just by nature of having the nearly identical car and the identical suit and showing up at the same time as him. But I think that if you can get away from that, he's an incredibly competitive driver that has potential to be up there with the best of the best. And my throw into the pot, and Brian, I'm so curious to hear yours if it's different. My throw into the pot of a driver that could easily be first in the podium would be Chelsea Denofa. And I'm not saying that because I'm on his team as well, but I think Chelsea has what it takes if he can just get through those tiny gremlins that he experiences.
He's a great driver, Chelsea. He's definitely solid, and he's after adapting to that car better than I thought he would, actually. I thought his style wouldn't suit how Vaughn has always kind of driven it, but he's definitely after changing it up, and he's killing it.
Well, his battle with Kristaps was incredible, and Kristaps will be, of course, the third person I'd throw into that pod. And it's not surprising because we've seen Kristaps on the podium incredibly before.
Yeah, so you can't exactly say Kristaps because he's been on the podium 3 times already this year. So like, he's obviously
he's not a wild card necessarily, but Chelsea and Piotr.
Who else is on the list? You know who else could actually? Matt Kaufman.
Yes.
Yeah, Matt Kaufman.
I was going to say was Matt Kaufman.
If his motor didn't blow, I'm sorry, Vaughn, if you ever listen to this, he's not going to listen to it though. But if your motor ever, if Matt Kaufman's motor it didn't blow, I think, but his motor was having issues, and he had to bow out of the battle literally seconds before they're about to pull up to the line. They're about to do burnouts, and I was just there to turn on Vaughn's GoPros, and Matt Kaufman's car started up, and it just sounded odd, and then he just looked the most defeated I've ever seen. And he had Gail Honadell walk over to us and is like, "We can't run. Our motor's gonna blow if we run." So he couldn't run, and it's heartbreaking because and I'm sorry, Vaughn, but I think he would have beat Vaughn. Like, not that Vaughn wasn't driving well, but Matt Kaufman was on fire.
That was my pick. Sam was Matt Kaufman.
Okay.
That was a very intelligent question. Ask another one. Like, they're good questions.
You only get one.
There you go. Just
Brian gets. It's unfair because Brian gets 2 hours to think, and me and Puck are like, "Whoa, what'd you eat for dinner last night? I bet it was tasty."
Butts or boobs?
Yeah,
right,
butts or
actually,
boobs.
no. But actually, I have a question for Kevin. Actually, so you're definitely moving for pro, right?
Yep, moving up next year for sure.
Who are the drivers that you're more stoked for going to battle against? Starting with.
Better say me, Kevin. I'm sitting here.
One of the guys that I've been friends with for a while and haven't really ever got to drive with was Denofa. I worked on his team for a season, and so he's one of the guys that I'm pretty stoked with to actually get to drive with, compete with. James Dean, Chris Forsberg, Peter, and all them are other people that I've been watching for a few years. Osbo again is also one of my my favorite drivers, one of my idols. I've been following him since he came over in his rookie season. So just to get the chance to drive in Pro 1 against, everyone that's in the field is an awesome, thing to come up with next year.
All right, real quick, let's keep that thought. All right, Dean, Kevin's about ready to go against Osbo in a top 16 battle. What advice would you give him?
Go hard. Just go hard.
Does he drive like a bitch?
Freddie never drives like a bitch. I think Freddie gets loads of hate for no reason. I think he's
I
think he's a very stand-up driver. I don't think he plays any games. He gets all this hate that he shouldn't get. And
I think he may have, but then we talked to him about it on the show, and then he's like, "You know what? I'm not going to anymore."
I don't ever think he did. I think
That's a joke. That's a joke, by the way, for those that might not think that's a joke.
No, I think he's there and he wants to win, and then that's definitely the most important thing. And he does exactly what he needs to win. So there's nothing wrong with that. Yep. It's a competition. We're all there to win, not just to take part.
Right. But then there's that time where you touch your tire against his door and he ends up spinning out. Is that a strategy or not?
Look, it's very hard
because it is a competition.
It's very hard to call that unless you're looking at a
Hold on, we
Typical
did see
lap.
that in Pro 2, though. I feel terrible that I don't remember the exact battle, but we saw the judges rule correctly. I forget who it was and what happened. And sorry if this is super vague, but I do remember seeing on the just seconds after initiation, one driver touch another guy, and it was very obvious that he then hit his brakes after he was tapped.
That's not
And-
cool, obviously.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I
we
feel-
saw that this was an intentional thing, and the judges ruled against that lead person correctly. So
Normally, I think you'll find out when a driver does that is when they know that they are going to struggle or whatever against the guy they're battling, so they're
yeah, they're gonna
trying
try
to take
get
any
that free
advantage they can.
run.
Yeah. But when you see the likes of like Forsberg and James and stuff, and they're banging off each other, and it's like it's awesome. That's what it's all about. Like you're supposed to be door to door, and that's why
Yeah.
I get a lot of slack or whatever for banging into cars in front of me. But I don't really give a shit. Like I'm there to go hard because I want to win. So that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, the only reason I asked that because, like you said, Oswo does get a lot of slack. Oswo's honestly one of my favorite drivers. He's actually a good friend of all of ours.
Yeah.
But he's been getting bashed so much over the past 2 years about him, coincidentally
Also-
spinning out over a tap, or he brake checks.
He's
or
one of the drivers that went from being like the hero to the hated, like very, very
there was a
quick.
switch
Yeah.
for sure. Where
But
people
it's easy to identify too. It's becoming a champion because once you're at the
Yeah.
top, it's easy to hate you. And on the topic, I always hate to bring it up, but it's something I do want to talk about because it's ridiculous. Is first quick asterisk / preface is my best buddy in FD. I think is easy way to say it's Forsberg. So like I don't want to always seem like I'm white knighting the dude, but what a weird thing for FD to post on Instagram. Forsberg gets like an 86 on qualifying. Do you think he should have gotten that score? Formula Drift posted that, and it's like, are you
Show me the
fucking
lap.
serious? Like what do you think people are going to say? Like people that are like, yeah, sure, 86. Like it's one thing to say like who won this battle, like this guy or this guy, because you have a subjective agreement or an opinion at least of who won the battle. But it's like, do you think this number that most people don't understand the judges come up with is fair? And then of course the entire comment section is filled like with just the weirdest, most troll-like, awful comments. And someone's like, it's not like people are like, he should have gotten 87 or he should have gotten 85. Everyone's just losing their dicks with the troll
It's
comment.
like Formula Derb took over Formula Drift.
It was such a weird post to make. And again, I hesitate to bring it up just because it is my best buddy in
Yeah.
FD. But like, why? That's such a weird post to do.
Yeah, don't laugh, Kevin. Right now, you are the most hated man on Pro 2.
Like
Yeah, I can imagine there's a target pretty big on my back.
Oh yeah.
Did you? Well, hold on. Was that your? I know you. No, you didn't take over the Instagram for the weekend.
That's a good one.
No, I didn't. No.
That's good.
Yeah, we actually did the math in the 16 and had to correct the judges because they were announcing Reader had the win going into the 8 at that
Oh, yeah,
point
that was-
already.
And yeah.
Yeah, I think Jared did an
I was-
announcement.
Yeah, I was sitting watching that, and he announced over the live stream that like, oh, it looks like the championship's locked down for Reader. And I know that Forsberg texted him, was sitting next to him, was like, they were doing the math right next to me, Forsberg and Dylan, and they're like, nope,
Yeah.
actually, Kevin has a chance, so you better retract that. And Jared, of
Yeah.
course, corrected himself and apologized.
J-Rod's a great commentator, you know that. He really
He is for
I think
being a
he's really
SpongeBob man.
And he gets so much hate as well from people. But
It's like unfair hate, you know,
It's
like
so stupid.
people don't understand how hard it is to like come up with things to say.
Yeah.
I froze on the microphone just Grid Life a couple weeks ago. Like Sam would just like put the microphone on my face and like you know, like nothing.
we done a demo at Goodwood Festival Speed there this year, and they invited over J-Rod over to commentate for it. And in fairness to him, he sent me in text at 5 a.m. like asking me all about the car and what modifications it had and why the Viper was not there and whatever. So like he definitely does do like a lot of research and puts loads of his own time and energy into trying to do the best production possible, I think.
well, with that,
Nobody cares
no,
apparently. No, just kidding.
no, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So Kevin,
What's up?
kind of back on you moving on to pro. Well, we already talked about you're probably gonna do the same power plant, just more power.
Yep.
But what's gonna change? Like other than like I mean I don't know, attitude, team. Like how like are you guys like planning to do like a big rig? Anything you like? You know, like it's gonna put the Juku team back on bring him up. I remember Njuku was kind of like a lot bigger. Now it seems kind of like
Yeah.
there has been a lot of wins, but now
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely in talks about trying to bring in potentially a bigger presence for next year and all that. But as far as like the team's concerned, and all our sponsors and all that have been with us for the past few years, is everyone that I definitely want to stay with and move into Pro One with. So as far as like names and stuff in the car, I don't think there's really going to be much to change. We'll do probably a new livery for the car. Hopefully we can try and bring a bigger footprint into Pro One next year. But again, everything works with budget. It just kind of depends on where we are coming into next year and, just before Long Beach. So, big rigs and all that are nice, but, to get us out there and to run what we need to do to be competitive, is it really necessary? That's still the question. Is it worth, spending all that money to try and get into something big, for a 2-car team to try and have to, be competitive with some of the other teams out there? So far we haven't proven it to be. So with what we have is working pretty well. So I think it's going to be pretty similar, same footprint for next year with what we're running.
got it. Well, I mean, Corey?
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us, man, and congratulations. Oh God.
Thanks.
What do you got, big balls?
Hey, Kevin, just a quick question. You know how there's a weight minimum in Pro 2? Now that weight minimum can be changed, do you feel there would be more advantage for you to go lower in weight to change that size of tire or go up in weight?
With the minimum weight, I think it's 2,900 pounds for Pro 2, which I think puts us in the 280 class for Pro 1, I think. It's been a while since I looked at the Pro 1 book. So we're really looking to run about a 275 tire going into next year. So we might shed a couple pounds out of the car because we were pretty well over the Pro 2 weight. But, where the car's at, it was ready for a bigger tire already. So we were just going to kind of stay with where it's at.
Hey, Dean, how would you rate Brian's question on a 1 to 10? How good was that one?
That was another good question. He should ask the questions, honestly.
Was that a 1 or a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10? What was it?
7.
7. What was the first question?
What was the first question?
Yeah, was that?
That
What
was
would
a
you rate
10.
that?
That was a 10.
Oh, he knocked it on. Nice job, Brian. You got a score of a total of 17 on that run. Nice. So, anyways,
He got more than you.
I know he barely. He gave me my one position. It's all right. It's all right. Hey, what do you got over there? Look at this. Hey, Sam, can you see live stream?
Yeah, he's watching. No, he's watching on
It'll be delayed.
Skype.
I'm watching on YouTube, but
Did
what do
you
you got?
see? Did you see what Dean brought us right here?
Brought you a gift.
He brought us a
wait,
gift.
Wait for it.
He's
wait for
bearing gifts.
It looks
There
like
you go.
a headlight or a tail light.
Yep. It's a tail light that you ended up blowing off in Texas.
Yeah, I blew
I
off.
can't wait until it is awesome if we were bringing that. Thank you, but this room is just gonna be full of broken parts from cars. But I mean, to be honest, that's pretty sweet. Thanks for bringing that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing us your garbage.
He was asking for a present. I just got rid of my trash.
Well, do you know what? At least we'll have enough parts to at least fix one of Paco's cars.
Thank you. Can't wait to put a Viper taillight into the
Yeah.
minivan.
Yeah, thanks, man. We'll put it next to Kristaps' jack stand, and we will have it as memoriam of the year that the tire wall murdered a bunch of cars. Because I can almost guarantee that it's going to be changed next year. As many people had said, like, why not just get like a plastic go-kart barrier or something that at least someone can ride it against, rather than having this serrated edge that will just catch any rear end of a car.
Unless it's bolted to all the tires, though,
Yeah.
it can basically act like a vert ramp. Like, with the way the
Oh, yeah.
car hitting it at 60 mile an hour, it's going to fold it over flat and you'll launch off it. So.
Ooh.
No, you're right. We should actually
True.
just do like a quarter pipe type setup. So that way,
Do a backflip.
They just do a fucking
What does this
barrel
tail
roll.
light normally cost, by the way?
$500.
Nice.
$500.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, like we saw Danny George putting a kickflip on out of that tire wall, so maybe if he could have like landed it, it would have
Yeah,
been a
it
lot
would've been-
better.
Yeah.
How much would he have scored if he landed it, though?
He probably would have got
Max out.
No, he probably would have got 17. He probably got 17.
Max
he beat
out
me by
style.
1. K-Law, thank you for being such a gentleman and a scholar. Good
Yep.
luck on your
Thank you.
Pro 1 career. Congratulations on your championship.
Yeah, dude.
You've definitely earned that.
Thank you, guys.
Kick some ass.
Definitely appreciate it.
And
Yeah,
How-
man. Congrats.
yeah, I can't wait to talk to you once you can start talking about your new program a little bit more in detail.
How do
Yeah,
you?
we'll definitely have
definitely.
to catch up before the new season and enjoy your celebration of the winnings.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah, definitely. We'll keep in touch. And,
And-
yeah, we'll get back together before the season starts.
Excellent.
And
Awesome.
how do you find you in social media?
What's that?
How do you find you? What's your Instagram, by the way?
It's K_Lawrence352.
You have to make it easier.
Awesome. K underscore
I'll work on
backslash.
that.
There were 351 K Lawrences before him, so that's the thing to do.
I've taken them all out.
Sweet.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll see you later, man.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
See
for
ya.
being here with us,
Yeah, man.
man.
Later, dude.
All right. So, is he gone? Oh my God! Finally.
God,
Jesus.
he would just talk about me. I'm a champion.
What a,
now.
what a bag of dicks. We're just here to talk to Dean Kearney all episode. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm the champion now. I can just call
Yeah, I
and do
can
whatever I
be.
want.
Yeah, Dean. Yeah, he runs Pro 1, but he's not a champion
Not
like
a
I am.
champion.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What would, yeah, but
Next
you,
year.
are you
Next year.
Are you champion in Europe at all?
Yeah, 2009. Actually, the last time I won a battle, or last time I
Last time you won a
event-
battle.
Yeah. Last
go
time I
down the
won an
memory
event
lane.
was 2010.
What event was that?
Back in Ireland, it was.
Oh, IDC.
Yeah. Well, before that was actually Pro Drift back then. That's the last time I won an event.
Did
Have you beaten James Dean in anything?
Yeah, myself and James, before we went our separate ways, before I came to the States, we actually used to have some very good battles over the years. But I didn't battle James like for 5 years before he came over here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've only had one battle in the last couple of years, and that was Atlanta, where he beat me in the final. So,
Who's going to win next time you go together?
well, if I taught him, I shouldn't be here, should I? So,
Right. Well, I just want to get some shit talking. If you couldn't tell, and if I asked Dean the same question, James Dean the same question, he would be like, "Oh well, Dean's a really good driver."
he's going to be very politically correct about it, James.
Yeah. So I want you to just talk shit because I know you will.
I won't talk shit. I'll just
Oh,
say
come
my
on.
honest opinion.
What's your
Well-
honest opinion?
That I'm going to beat him.
There you go.
This is
You
not a
heard it,
show.
you heard it here, James Dean. He talks shit too.
Yeah, this is not a show about honest opinions. This is a shit talking show. Obviously, as you know, we're the worst. But
You're good at shit talking the tree, actually.
there you go.
I don't know who's
Thank
worse,
you.
though.
As
I'm
what?
the worst, probably.
Sam would probably win that.
Worse at what?
Talking shit.
Oh,
Pretty much everything.
Hey, so while I'm sitting here at the tree, who is Formula Derp? Tell me.
who is Formula Derp?
Have you been dirt before?
Yeah, of course.
What was that about?
I was derped actually the weekend over a comment I made to Jeff Jones for trying to win practice.
That's it.
Yeah, it's
That's
not exciting.
weak.
I just got derped again. I haven't got derped in like probably 2 years, and I got it yesterday because it's making fun of me driving Tanner's car. That was my
Yeah.
derp.
Derp is awesome. I just want to know how it is, though.
He's not awesome. He's a piece of shit.
It's none of us. We're still trying to figure it out. So if you know anybody,
Nah, I don't really give a shit.
The tree, you know, I know.
no, we don't.
I know you. Corey, actually.
Big balls. Big balls.
It's
did it.
Brian. That's the smart guy right there.
It's the smart guy.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, anyway, Sam, it was fun seeing you over the weekend. FD Texas was awesome. I have now 2 years to figure out what I'm going to do next. But are you-
Yeah, I mean, almost 3 if we're going to
3
be
years,
honest.
yeah.
So,
By the way,
But-
sorry, Sam.
yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say that I hope that you decide, Corey, to go full pull next year and come with a prepared car ready to party because
Well,
I'm sure
maybe-
everyone wants to see you out there.
well, maybe I can get my media guy back.
Let's do it one more time, one more
Just-
year. Let's
just-
go back to 2004, 13, 14, I don't
Tandem
know,
bike.
whatever year that was.
13? We could do it. We can do it, Sam.
Let's make it happen.
All right, boys.
Before we go,
Yeah.
so Brian Eggert he has street driven tickets for us to give away. There you go. So sorry guys, so not anymore. We're giving it to Dean.
When do you go home? When do you go back to Ireland?
I don't know, actually. We have a lot of work to do with the 3 cars, so I'll get back to California first, and then we will make a plan from there.
When street driven?
In Las Vegas, Saturday, September 23rd.
I haven't even been invited yet. Why would we give these away? Can't we just take them?
Well, sorry guys, we're not gonna give them away anymore. We're all taking them. We are going to street driven. Thank you.
All right, sweet.
Let's all go.
No, but yeah, we're gonna we give away tickets to Street Driven for people who shares this episode. Make sure you share it on Instagram. Use a hashtag Maximum Driftcast, and you have to tag us, like tag us on the photos, so otherwise we can't find the post. Same on Facebook, where I'm gonna make a post, and you guys better share it. So yeah, Street Driven, September 23rd in Las Vegas. It says, along with Supers in Vegas and Stance Wars, Elite Car Show, drifting ride-alongs, drift games. There's going to be like drift soccer, 360 drift, hard park, etc. Burnout contest. So
How much are they paying you, Paco?
tickets?
Paco.
Oh, you're getting free tickets out of this, Paco?
Well, I don't know. I'll ask Brian Eggert after this if he can get me free tickets.
I wish
get free tickets for
I
all
wish
of us.
Brian would have gave me a higher score.
Yeah, I
Instead
was
of
gonna say, what is
street
Corey?
driven
Yeah, hold on a sec. Why should Corey even promote this event? Because to be honest, after we've done the judges a pretty good solid during the show, and we've given them the fair side of the argument, being like, judges are pretty good people. Granted, they can be swayed by an edible platter of fruit or chocolate, but all in all, they're pretty good people. And then they go give Corey 18th place. They could even do 17th.
They couldn't give me
place. It would've
one
been
extra
funnier.
point.
But
I get one extra ticket. We get one extra ticket.
So I would say to the judges that how dare you, first of all.
Who are
Like,
you?
Who are you, and why would you do this to Corey after all we've done for you? We know you're trying to be fair in this sport, but honestly, like, you could have fudged a little bit and at least let Corey drive a couple runs in the main show because we all know he needed that. And here you are. You're just like, he's been so nice and kind to you guys, and you judge him accurately, and it's bullshit. You should have just given him some more shit.
I can't wait till we can start judging them, Sam.
There you go.
I'm judging them right now. How does that feel?
I think,
How does that feel, Brian? Hey, Brian, I'm going to swipe left on you if it's on Tinder.
That'll be Grindr, Sam.
No, it's Bumble because they don't even get to choose if they like me or not. I'm just choosing if I like them. I'm swiping left on Brian. I'm swiping left on Ryan, and I'm gonna swipe right on Andy because he's sassy.
Hey, real quick, last question before we wrap this up. Dean has a question for you, Sam.
Who
Okay,
does
let's hear
the decorating in your house, Sam?
What's it look like right now? Huh? Let's take a look.
No, I'm just asking.
You can just turn your head.
I mean, I guess me. Why?
Very feminine looking.
Why? What? Let's go into this, man. What do you think is feminine?
It's on.
It just looks like you could be possibly at a chick's house.
Well, I mean, I live with my girlfriend, and I try to have an equal space and an equal environment so we get along, right? What else do you want to talk shit about?
That's perfect.
Is that all you got?
That's perfect. That's all you had to say.
Well, no, I mean, what's feminine about it? Like, I've got my hue lights on. I could make them blue and yellow. How can we do that?
It looks like a house you could live in. That it's not like a frat
Now
house.
they're
or
blue and
something.
yellow. Oh, you want them to be vaporwave color? That's cool. They'll
look
be
at this
teal and
baller.
blue.
Oh,
Look
what?
at this
Look at that.
Baller.
Wow. I wish we had that kind of technology here.
Hey, that's the couch that me and Paco slept on, and Paco farted in my face.
So aesthetic.
I sent that video to Pat Gooden, by the way.
And also, what is feminine about
thanks.
it? I got a bunch of Amazon boxes on the table there. That's not very feminine.
I
I've
was
got-
complimenting your
got-
house, not slagging your house. All right.
All right. That's
Wow.
fine. I just thought that you were
You
talking
always
shit
get
to me,
your
and I got
back up.
excited
You
because
always
that means
get your
we're going to
back
open
up.
up the floodgates.
You always get your back up.
That's all right. I
So
mean,
bitchy.
I would do a driver on driver with you, but honestly, you're not important enough yet.
Ooh.
So we'll wait.
That or I wouldn't give you the time of day to do it, but whatever.
Maybe someday, dude.
All right, boys. I say that's a wrap. Thank you, Dean, for coming in. I know we got you on your trip.
Thank you very much, boys.
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's a
for
pleasant surprise.
thanks
I'm very
for
happy to
surprising
see-
us with your presence.
Yep. And so, anyways, Instagram name, what is it?
Dean Carnage, and thank you very much, boys. I definitely enjoyed the show, and it's always fun to listen to it. I hear it every week and enjoy it.
Really?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
It's always enjoyable to be part of it.
We're never talking shit about you anymore. I said I'm not talking shit about
You're
you
not.
anymore after
That's
seeing you
honest.
doing that roundhouse kick.
Yeah, I can wipe your head
I'm
off.
on.
Oh God! Do
All
I need
right,
to be
boys.
careful now? I
Last-
just laid some bombs, and he's gonna roundhouse kick me to the face
Yeah.
in Irwindale.
Lastly, we got to thank our Patreons. We got to thank AM Intakes. We got to thank McLeod. Thank you guys all for being a part of it. But we'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks, guys. And
There you
thanks,
go.
Oh,
Oh,
you
yeah,
got
but-
Oracle Lighting and Bridges Racing and DK43. And what do you got on the back? Holy shit, you have a
Oh my
story on your
God.
back. Achilles, Worth House. What does this say?
Ignite Racing
Tradestone,
Fuels.
Ignite, AM, Infinity, Cosmos
Cosmos
Wheels,
Wheels.
Garrett Chargers, HPS, and 360 Wraps.
And of course, on our end, we have to thank our Patreons. Without you, the show wouldn't still be going on probably. So thank you to all the Patreons paying stuff out there. Paco just shipped out a bunch of stuff this week. So if you haven't received your items, you should be receiving them very soon. And if you're not already a Patreon, then fuck you. Stop listening right now.
Oh, hold on.
kidding.
Hold on.
No, don't do that.
Big Balls just pulled the mic down. Big Balls.
I just want to play an encore of that kick. That's just too awesome.
Okay, one more. We'll close it with the
We'll
kick.
close with it.
All right, we're closing with the
Hold on.
kick. The viral hit from Dean Kearney. 33,000 views. Here it is. Great shirt, great pants. Wow!
Look at the score. Look at the score. It keeps going. It keeps going. 800. 800. Wow.
And didn't even phase you.
Boom.
Congratulations on your viral hit.
I'm gonna be honest, that was my third try at it. So.
Dean Kearney just
No, the two you wiped out.
He roundhouse kicked this thing and he gets like 700 points.
Wow.
Well, we'll see you soon, Sam. I'll probably text you later. Thank you, guys.
Right.
Thank you, Dean. Bye, guys.
You guys have a good night, and thanks for tuning, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.